I watched them throw the pitches. I watched on the video board. It was wonderful. What a moment for those guys. Truly, congratulations to them. It looked like, from what I saw, and I did see one video replay, it looked like Paul, nobody really threw a strike, but Paul hit his catcher in the air. Woods hit his catcher in the air, although a little bit wild. I'm sorry to say Ben bounced it, and I'm sure that will be a big topic of conversation tomorrow at 6 a.m. on Ben and Woods. I'm going to be locked in because I want to hear about the first pitch experience.
Welcome in, everybody. Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan. Let's get our heads right this morning. That was the great Sammy Levitt kicked off the show today for you. We are here. We are live. And I'd say a little bit worse for wear, but we're doing just fine. The team may be 3-5, but Ben and Woods is 8-0. That's how I feel this morning after last night was phenomenal evening. I'm Woodsy. That's Paul Reindl, the executive producer. Morning to you, Paulie.
Good morning.
Benjamin Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor. Good morning to you, Benjamin.
Good morning. And can I just tell Paulie, you're going to need to get that the turd polishing sound ready, not for the game last night. But for my pitch, we're gonna polish that thing up, and by the time we are done today, you're gonna decide it was the best bounced first pitch you've ever seen.
There it is. Listen, I've watched it like the Zapruder film since I saw a couple videos come out last night. So if you hadn't heard, and I'm sure you have, we got to throw out the ceremonial first pitch. Ceremonial or honorary? I don't remember. Ceremonial. Our pal Rob Zilla, which we didn't know this going in, he got to throw out the honorary. He also bounced it, Ben. So that makes you feel a little bit better.
You weren't the only one.
Yeah, you weren't the only one. But his actually was like a bounce. It was like a double hop in front of the catcher. So I went and looked at the video like the Zapruder film. And I just tried to put a right-handed batter in the box, and that's kind of how I worked on that when I looked at it. Right-handed hitter in the box. Ben's pitch. I'm gonna put about 90% of it on Johnny Brito here. He's not a catcher. He's not an infielder. He's not an outfielder. He's a pitcher. Pitchers can't field their position most of the time, and there you can see the mark where it hits. Bro, you got to have that one. I mean, you have to have it. It was not that bad at all. Now, it bounded away from him a little bit, which makes it look really bad. Yeah. But where the ball hit, I've seen the still footage. Absolutely fine.
Everyone thought you were like he was about to get hurt because of your first
Correct.
pitch.
Yeah, no. This ball was on point. It was on point. And context matters.
I will say, and nothing against Johnny Brito, but my ball cross play, it was straight at him.
Yeah.
Right? It was past home plate.
Yeah.
You had Kyle Higashioka, an actual catcher.
Which was so great.
He would have picked mine.
Oh,
he would have picked mine.
No, he would have gone out and got it.
Or he would have caught it in the air. But it was in his mitt for a second. It was. It may have been kind of ground and mitt at the same time, but it was right there.
Yeah,
right
if you slow it down, look, Ben's is right. Boom! You see the mark at the back of the box. There's the mark. You can circle the mark right there. It's like
Blake Snell bounced a ton way closer to home plate and got swings and strikeouts on
So
them.
here's the deal. He was in it. Ben is innocent. Sammy said mine was a little wild. My ball was in the zone for the whole time until the very end. I had late life. So mine was like
Yours did move.
Mine was
you
like
had some movement.
Mine was like a cutter. It was right down the middle, and then Higgy had to reach a little bit, but he caught it in the air. And then Paulie's, if I'm a right-hander, Paulie just dotted my shoulder hard. Like Paulie
brushed him off.
Gassed. Paulie, he hit you in the shoulder. So let's walk through the whole night. Listen, I'm going to come in here and call all three of our pitches a win. That's what I'm going to call. Because no one embarrassed themselves. They all got to the plate. Yours got past the plate, Ben. I don't know what people are talking about. Bouncing it is in front of the plate. That's when you bounce one. That ball was at the back of the batter's box. And again, you can see the mark.
People say, don't bounce it. Did the ball hit the dirt?
Yeah, but it was way past the plate.
I'm just saying, I think the common person, if they say don't bounce it, which we probably heard 1,000 times yesterday from everybody that was there, don't bounce it. Don't bounce it. If the ball hit the dirt, they're considering that a bounce.
I don't consider it a bounce at all.
Thank you.
I really don't. That. The ball, Johnny Brito turns his head.
If he threw it in the air, he wouldn't have to turn his head.
I'm going to go down there.
Caught it.
I'm going to go down there.
He didn't bounce it.
I'm going to go down there and spend some time with him and rip some fungos at him. I mean, he clearly turns his head, short hops it. The ball's fine. It was absolutely fine. It was not a bounce. That was not a bounce. You did not bounce that ball. You didn't. You didn't bounce it. So don't worry about it.
He kind of did.
He didn't, Paulie. He did not bounce it, dude.
Did the ball hit the dirt?
Eventually every ball hits the dirt if someone doesn't catch it.
Unless they catch it.
You guys got to catch that ball.
I mean, if your catchers didn't reach and grab your balls, they would have also bounced.
My catchers
hit the grass.
Don't reach and grab my balls. That's that. I don't. Yeah, before the plate is a bounce. Thank you. If you throw it in front of the plate, that's a bounce. You know what you threw? You threw a good pitch. You threw a pitch that's stayed in the zone.
I didn't know I'd have such a great defender this morning in Woods.
It made me mad. It made me mad. So listen, Johnny Brito, you turn your head on that. Just go through it. We worked on this. The old Ron Washington. Boom, through it. Boom, through it. Boom, through it. All pitchers throw to the back of the zone like that, and they want to keep that ball down. You kept the ball down. You did a great job. I'm not worried about it.
I may have lacked a little velocity. If I had more velocity, it would have stayed up for a second. I may have thrown it too easily. And then when it just lost, right at the end, it just lost a little bit of zip and dropped. It was going across the plate like at the right zone. It's probably at the knees when it crossed the plate.
Wild pitch or pass ball. That's a pass ball.
It's tough. It would be a tough scorer's ruling, I think. But, I mean, it crossed the plate in the strike zone, I'd say.
Yeah.
And because it lacked velocity, it dropped after the plate and hit the back of the batter's box. I mean, watch as it... I mean, if you're on your YouTube stream, when it goes across home plate, I'd say it's still at the knees.
100%.
Yeah, if not a little higher.
He let it get deep. That's a pass ball. That's not a wild pitch. You did great. When you said last night I bounced it, I wanted to go back and look, and I was like, oh, this is going to be incredible. And I looked at it, I go, he didn't do anything wrong. I thought, okay, so first of all, we show up. And my knees are like knocking together. And I tried during the national anthem, when they brought us out there, you could probably hear me. I was next to you going, just trying to get out the jitters. And it was a packed house. It was so special. It was so cool. And for me, like being able to be out there with you guys, the culmination of a lot of hard work and talking about doing stuff like that was just very special to be out there with you guys. It was really cool.
So I tend to agree with you. Normally when I'm nervous about something, like when I was in goal for the Seals, I was very nervous about that all week long. As we got closer, as I got into the gear, as the moment came, as I stepped out, a calm kind of came over me, and I was able to...
It's like right before you die.
Yeah, I was able to lock in. This was not that. I kept getting more and more nervous.
Oh, me too.
Until, we went out there and we lined up on the line for the national anthem on the edge of the grass.
That's when I got the most
moment
nervous.
of silence, and I could feel like my arm just starting to go numb, and like I've been squeezing this baseball, and like I can't even feel it anymore. How on earth am I ever going to even throw this anywhere in the vicinity of home plate? Because I was so nervous, and I looked around and I said on the show yesterday, well, I mean, it's before the game. People are usually still getting food.
Oh, my God.
I mean, there'll be, half the people won't be in their seats yet. I looked up. I could not see an empty seat in Petco Park. Gallagher Square was packed. I'm going, everybody is here. Everybody is watching this. There is no one who is going to miss this pitch. Is there a concession line? I mean, what happened to the concession lines? Do they have the best service in the history of Petco Park? Have everybody in their seat for the first pitch? That never happens. So I was truly almost hyperventilating at that point. It was very stressful.
Well, the other thing that got me was when they put us out in our spots. And I looked up, and I saw the guys that were going to be catching us. It was Sugar, and it was Higgy,
and Brito.
And it was Brito. And they were
so close
3
together.
feet from each other. And they started to squat. And I go, no, spread out. Like, somebody's going to die here. Like...
We're going to cross paths, cross the
streams like the Ghostbusters. So I was like, please spread out. So they did, and we delivered the pitch, complete blackout. It was literally like Will Ferrell in Old School. It was like, what happened? How did I do? Like, bro, you killed it. What? Is it okay? Did I do good? That's how it was. For me, the most fun thing.
We also need to get to what happened after the pitch.
Yes, after the pitch was pretty priceless. We throw, the guys run out. Of course, Brito had to go get the ball that he muffed. And
the passed ball?
Yeah, the pass ball.
That's what we're
The
calling
ball
it.
in the dirt?
Yeah, the ball in the dirt. Well,
The ball that hit the dirt.
the ball that he biffed. He booted it.
The ball that was a
E2.
strike
The ball
in the
that
zone.
bounced
Yeah,
in
strike
front
in
of
the
the
zone.
catcher.
That's strike in the zone. Strike for 100 years. Okay. So he runs out. We all like dap up. Thank you.
They
Higgy.
said they're gonna meet you halfway.
Yeah,
you
and I
walk
did
towards
that.
the plate. They'll walk towards the mound. Meet halfway.
The next thing you know, I look over, and Ben has beelined back to the sideline.
Going back, so I was on the third base side, and there were handlers, and they were trying to keep us moving. The game was getting started, and the guy gave me the exit this way, please. Don't step on the line. So I followed him out, and I was more than happy to get out of there. I was definitely ready to be out of the spotlight at that point.
Paulie's wife got this brilliant audio.
Good job, Ben. Nice
I bounced it.
I bounced it.
He hadn't seen the replay.
I hadn't seen the replay.
Oh, we missed the best part. Everyone talked over the best part.
I'm just saying, you heard it from his mouth.
Nice
I bounced it.
Ben.
Meanwhile, in the background, it's you, me, Sugar, Burrito, and Higgy, just arms around, because you are screaming for Ben as well. And the guy goes, "We got 3 seconds.
Come on, guys, now or never." We're like, ooh.
They are on such a time crunch. They said, like, it's like, hey, we either take this photo now or it ain't happening.
I bounced it.
Ben. It was amazing.
I don't remember anyone saying about a post photo. We took pre-photos,
I don't
but
remember it either.
I didn't know there was a post photo moment.
You could have asked me for my PIN number of my debit card. I would have given it to you before the game. I had no idea where I was or what I was doing. But the coolest thing for me, obviously, was
I bounced it.
settled. He had not seen the replay.
I hadn't seen the
yet.
replay. I mean, obviously it got away. I saw it got away.
No.
So at that point, I assumed
I'm on your side here.
I must have thrown it shorter than I thought, but I got it there.
You did.
And if I'll hold people accountable on this show, don't worry, guys.
No, I would hold him accountable. You know that. I wear him out. That was a fine pitch. I've never seen a big league player turn his head on a ball in the dirt ever. Never once. But that's just me.
Maybe hit it in the air from 35 feet out.
Yes. But I'm on your side. That ball needs to be caught. So we get to we go to a little tailgate before. Our friend Corey had a little mini tailgate. Got to hang out with Eno, Katie Wu.
Oh, you saw Eno.
Saw Eno.
Fantastic.
Yep. And so Paulie runs up and he goes, "Dude, come here for a sec." Pulls me aside and he
I'm
said,
about 50 feet from the tailgate when I get this text.
Paulie says, "Hey, I just got a text from the Padres, our friend Presley that works here and with the Padres." And she said, "Hey, is Woodsy here? Are his kids here?" And Paulie's like, "Yeah." And she goes, "Well, we need somebody to deliver the game ball to the mound and to be the play ball kid. Would they be interested?" Paulie's like, "They want to do it?" I'm like, "Are you kidding me? Yeah, they'll do it. My kids love clout." So I said, "Hell yeah, we're clout whores, all of us. Get them on there. They're superstars, both of them." Send little Bo out to the mound. He stops. He waves, sweet as an angel. And then they get little Taylor on the mic. And Taylor got to do the play ball. And it was so, I had to coach him for like an hour and a half.
Go ahead, Taylor.
Yeah, buddy! You hear a very proud father there.
I love that you can like hear the moment where his little brain realizes that this thing right
makes
here
me loud.
Yes, because it's like starts off soft.
Play ball!
Go ahead, Taylor.
Play ball! Oh, so
And then the
proud.
tongue sticking out. It's just
And then he
amazing.
turns.
He Jordans it, yeah.
And he's got the tongue sticking out. It was just an elite night. Get home, post all this stuff. And I'm feeling so good. And I'm feeling a comeback is in order. And I'm like, we told you guys we were going to be in the house. The vibes would change.
Well, everybody knows that the vibes from a first pitch and play ball kids last 5 innings.
5 innings.
You've got 5 innings of power
vibes.
to
You
affect
better-
the game.
you
After
better
that,
get
it's
it
up to
done.
the team. But we put them into the lead after 5 great innings. Then it's up to them the rest of the way.
I feel like
there's only so much we can do.
I feel like if Bo and Taylor can't turn the vibes on this team, we may be lost forever. So
I just should have had to come back out in the 6th for another play
deliver
ball.
another
yeah.
ball. So listen, I get home and I post, and it doesn't take away from the night that we had. I'll never forget it as long as I live. I would have liked to win that baseball game last night. I really would have. For more than just, a dub in the standings. I really wanted it for Mike Schilt. I wanted it for the players. Mike Schilt, he wanted to win that series. He's not going to. And now it's going to be our first series loss of the year. And man, it was a tough one. So now you go from thank you so much, this was the greatest, to like, all right, time to get your asses in gear, right? So now you got to flip the switch a little bit, and I think that's what we are going to do here today. But again, an honor, a joy, one of the best nights of my life, getting to do it with you guys.
It's really cool.
It was a really, really cool
so
moment.
Much fun.
Thank you to the Padres
you.
for inviting us and making a memory of a lifetime.
No question. It was so good.
Let's get rolling here. We will set the menu. We do have a big show planned for you on a Wednesday. Obviously, a lot of baseball talk coming up. Get our first check of traffic with Kelly, and then off and running here on San Diego's #1 sports station. It's Ben Woods on 97.3 The Fan. I kind of expected it from you, Paulie. You know, taking the it bounced tack here this morning. But Kelly,
somebody needs to keep the integrity on the ship.
I mean,
I didn't expect it from Kelly Danick. Did you hear the traffic report that we just had during our last break? Kelly's taking shots.
The YouTube stream didn't hear it.
Oh yeah, let's play it for everybody here.
Great seeing you guys on TV yesterday, by the way. No matter how you pitch. San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Now, her laughs are the greatest. So good.
We just need to get Kelly and Mike Schilt in a comedy room audience and let them go at it.
That was her other laugh.
Oh, God. That's so good. So good. That was amazing. She's incredible. Incredible.
Oh, God.
East County Chris makes a good point. He says, it's okay, Ben. Camposano doesn't know where home plate is either. I mean, that's the line of the day. The line of the day from East County Chris this morning in the chat. Again, not to say this every day of the season, but every day we watch this team, we see something we have never seen before. And I have never seen that before. That play, and we'll get to the wrap-up and everything else. That play to me, I was like, what are they looking at? Of course he's out. He was right there. And
by a mile. Got him by a mile. What a play by Tyler Wade. That was fantastic.
6 inches of space between foot and plate. I'm like, oh, it's kind of a big one. Kind of a big one. So, yeah, we'll get to the wrap-up and all that, but we got a great show today. Going to be talking a ton of baseball. Benny, set us up.
Yeah, we've got our Padres wrap-up coming up in our next segment and get into Yu Darvish's performance. The Padres continued struggles to put some runs on the board the last couple of days. In our second hour, our usual features, Take on Woods, Don't Do This. Then Adam Jones will be back with us. It is a Wednesday morning. He's been literally everywhere the last couple of weeks. He'll get us caught up on his thoughts of the start of the Major League Baseball season and what he's been up to. Second half of the show, we got another former big leaguer. It's a Big Leaguer Wednesday. Bret Boone will be back with us. Odyssey podcast host and good friend, baseball legend Bret Boone will be with us at 8:30.
Reindl. And I think his most recent guest was our pal Tony Gwynn Jr.
Oh, I had Tony on. Excellent. Yep. So we'll see what Bret's been up to. Reindl Report at 9 o'clock. And then we got an early game today to get you ready for first day game at Petco Park. Well, opening day was day game, but first regular season, middle of the week, day game. And the Padres and Cardinals kind of have to get this last one.
Yeah.
Don't want to get swept early in the season against a team that you could regret it later in the year. Get this one, move on. But the Padres need to find a way to get some runs on the board.
Even the fact that they lost this series, I think, is unacceptable.
Yeah, not against this team and the guys that they ran.
I know it's only been a week and a small sample size. I don't think the Cardinals are that good of a team.
Nor do I.
Not at least not to come into your house and punk you like that.
Yeah, they're not. They're not scary. They're not intimidating when they come in.
I mean, you look at the lineup and you go, all right, Goldschmidt and Arenado, don't let these guys beat me, and you know, I'll take my chances with really the rest of the lineup. And but yeah, I mean, Wilson Contreras. I mean, you made one bad pitch last night, and
it wasn't even that bad of a pitch. Yeah,
and we spiral, and so. Let's talk about similarities and things like that we're seeing to last year. It's one. But, as Paulie and I both said, we both lost money on that game last night because that's what's even scarier. Last year, that game last night, guaranteed dub. Guaranteed. It was up, down, right? So we were down the night before. Offense was a bit stagnant. You got Yu Darvish on the mound. He pitches his ass off. You win that game 8-3. Last year, 9-10-3. No problem. I put money down. I was easiest money I'm going to make this season was that. And now, even that trend is going away. So what are we heading towards here, Padres fans? We will dig into that.
And we'll hear from Mike Schilt as well. But if you're expecting the manager to be up in arms or concerned even about his team or maybe a little salty about a 3-5 start, then you're going to be surprised at what Mike Schilt's impressions of his team is after 8 games of the season and his evaluation so far. Because when we play this audio, it's not like leaning positive. He's full in, like, I love what I'm seeing from my team so far.
My man was like Christmas morning. Dude.
Yeah.
He was like, you just know there was no getting to him last night.
I
love that.
We'll play the audio, but we got just what the doctor ordered last night from you, Darvish.
Yeah.
We've got love what I'm seeing from my lineup. I mean, I hope he's right. I really do. He knows baseball better than anyone probably in San Diego right now with his experience. I hope I can trust Mike Schilt when he says, there's no reason to be worried at all. I like what I'm seeing from my team. Yeah, the results haven't been there. That's baseball sometimes. I hope that is absolutely true. And as fans, we are getting a little worried here early for absolutely no reason at all. But we will talk about that coming up next with our Padres Wrap-Up. Do not go anywhere. Ben and Woods on a Wednesday morning here on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Got an interesting comment. Oh, sorry, Benny.
Sorry. We don't do that very often.
We don't. I wanted to get this before it went away. Our buddy Jeff Walsh in the chat says, this is weird to me. Let's see if this makes sense. Let's parse this out. Give us something to talk about. Seeing this West Coast mentality of some of these fans that care only when they win is sad. Those crying could never do what so many in Boston or Chicago did, waiting for a World Series win again. Do you get this? Now, I always hear the opposite, Jeff, and you can call in. I'd love to, I'm not being a jerk here. I'd love to hear your perspective here. Jeff, I think, is from the East Coast. 833-288-0973. And we'll get to the wrap-up and all that. We've got 3.5 hours to kill.
I'm actually still building it, so take your time.
Paulie's still building the wrap-up, so this is great. This is great. He didn't even tell me we needed to vamp. I always hear the opposite. I hear, Jeff, that we're too soft. The fans are too soft. We should expect more, like they do in Philly, like they do in Boston, like they do in New York. Now, when was the last time a New York, Boston, or Philly baseball team won a World Series? It's been a minute.
2009, when the Yankees won the last time.
That's the last one.
And then 2007, Red Sox.
I disagree with you, Jeff. I think that fans here now, the fact that, the Padres are the only major league game in town, so to speak, out of, let's call it the Big Four, they've really put their energy into this team. And there were how many people there last night?
43,000 plus.
43,000 plus. I do realize some people showed up for the ponchos. I do realize that. But I also know, and the fans that we talk to every single day, the guys on Twitter, the guys on our chat, the people that I play baseball with, the people that are my friends, they're tired of losing. They're tired of being a laughingstock. They're tired of being the same old Padres, or the Madres, as we are so lovingly called by fan bases that apparently hate their mothers. So I get it. I get the frustration. I'm frustrated. I think what fans want to see is maybe more frustration sometimes from the team and the players. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, what I don't understand from Jeff's comment is he makes it sound as though for 86 years Red Sox fans just waited patiently and
quietly,
calmly for their team to finally win a World Series. Are you telling me
they were
that
psychotic?
The Red Sox fans weren't absolutely in the chamber, in the blender for years and years and years, more so than any other fan base? They were going absolutely out of their minds
Padres
when their team couldn't win. And they were not happy when the team lost. And, yes, they still cared when the team lost, but Padres fans care that they're losing. That's why they're upset. That's why they're frustrated right now.
I think maybe I'm missing his point entirely. When did the Padres come into existence? 1969.
Yes.
So remember being a Red Sox fan back in the day before you went on your run. I mean, the 1918 chant. Is there anything that we're lucky that nobody's latched on to that? You know what I mean?
You never even think of the comparison.
Well, Jeff just says they still supported the team no matter what. You're seeing it
sold out.
You're
the passion
seeing
for Padres baseball has never been higher than it is right now. They sold a record number of tickets last year to Petco Park. You've had more people talking about it, wearing jerseys around town. They are supporting their team.
They are.
Yeah, they're mad that the team's losing and they're frustrated, but that's a sign that they do care and that they are still passionate about the team. What blows my mind, as you mentioned, so 1969, 55 years ago. I mean, the Red Sox at least had a World Series during their 86-year drought. We're getting within 30 years of that Red Sox. That's 55 years without a championship is a very long time in professional sports. The Padres drought is now a significant and notable one
we're in the
sports
conversation
history.
Of the teams with the longest drought.
Yes, we are.
And the thing is too, and try to take this point. The living and dying with each game is not healthy, but it's absolutely, in my mind, necessary. Where else are you going to look? What else in San Diego are you going to go and say, well, at least it's so-and-so season? You know what I mean? Like, New York's got that right now. They can go watch the Knicks. The Boston Red Sox fans can go watch the Celtics and the Bruins. What do we have? We've got these guys. So
Patriots draft is coming up later this
dude,
month.
You're effing A right.
Training camp in the summer.
You're effing A right that you live and die with this team. That's how I feel. I hate every loss. And last year, I think I was even BSing myself with we're going to get it together and it's going to be fine. You know, that's just that's genuine. That's genuinely how I feel. I live in the healthiest way to do. But I'm in the car last night. Jake hits that ball up the middle. And, I'm thinking it's going to get through, and it doesn't, and I'm F-bombing, on the drive home. Like, I absolutely do live and die. Sitting by with your hands in your lap saying, it's okay, it's all right, it's okay. I mean, there are fans that live that way, and that's fine. That's fine by me, too. I'm just saying, like, people in our chat, they get up at 6 o'clock in the morning to tune into the show to weigh in. Those opinions are valid to me, and I realize they're capable of ripping off 17 games in a row. I would like to see it. I would like to see it.
It's going to be a weird season, man, because last year I was as guilty as anybody of the guys. It's only it's May 7th. Like, we're fine. There's plenty of time. I'm also not like today's not a must-win game. Finding that balance, though, I mean, if you think the Cardinals are going to be anywhere in the wild card mix, losing this series sucks.
Yeah, it sucks.
Because game 8 and game 161,
game 108.
While game 161 may feel more important depending on how the races are going and the standings and all that, they're still one of 162. Like, they all count. And to just not play very well against a team that you need to win at home, it was really tough.
I'm not picking on you, Jeff. Jeff doesn't live here, but he says this is what he sees in the chat. He says, I grew up around Yankees and Red Sox fans. So did I, who seem to have such a different mentality compared to what I see from Padres fans or even other teams on the West Coast. I disagree. I really do. Like, Padres fans are more like Yankees and Red Sox fans now than they've ever been, in my opinion. And you grew up here.
Much more. Like it
now,
than in the old days.
Was it different? I was going to say, was it different 20 years ago?
It was
30
different.
years ago?
20 years ago.
Because you didn't feel like you had a shot.
People would only show up on a Saturday night giveaway, and they didn't even care much about the game. Now they're showing up every single night, giveaway or not. Yeah, last night was Poncho night, but they get 40,000 when they're giving away nothing now in games because people want to be there, want to see the team, and they care about the team. They call in and talk about the team. No one ever really wanted to call, other than the diehards, ever really want to call and talk Padres baseball.
We said
totally
earlier,
different.
We said AJ's been here, 10 years almost, coming into 10 years? Like, you kind of have to split his tenure up in at least to 2 5-year stints. And so these last 5 years, like since Machado and Tatis got here, I would say this fan base has been as rabid as any fan base in professional sports.
No question.
Hungry for a championship.
Psychotic
a playoff appearance, for the love of God.
Bro, we showed up so hard. Everyone showed up so hard. Yeah. And again, if you build it, they will come, and they've proven that.
I wouldn't have expected these fans, the same fans in 2014.
No, I wouldn't either. I really wouldn't have either.
The team wasn't invested. Why should you be invested?
And Baseball Nick makes a good point in the chat where he basically says, yeah, I also genuinely prefer the feeling of we could do it this year rather than knowing we're going to win 72 to 75 games. Yep. And that's how you felt in 14. Then you look down at the field and go, all right, superstar, quasi-superstar, quasi-superstar, and go, get it together. Get it together and do it. That's what I think.
And while I agree that you don't want to play it's early game like they did all season last year,
right.
You can't overreact the other way. A slow start is 18-24, not 3-5. A slow start to the season is the first fifth of the season, and you're 4 or 5 games under 500.
Right.
This is 1 week, and even if you're 18-24, you're still just a good week away from being back at 500. It is a very long season. That doesn't change the fact that you have to play with some urgency. I don't think a lack of urgency has been a problem for the Padres.
But nobody, media, fans, players, whoever, nobody can say these games aren't as important as the games in September because they all
that is true. They are all
one
important.
of 162.
But has anyone thought that the Padres haven't taken any of these 8 games seriously? That they've gone in and
I've seen
players aren't going, don't worry about it, it's fine. They're not doing that this year.
I've seen some crappy at bats, but you're going to get crappy at bats in the course of a 162 game season. season.
You'll see crappy at-bats in September.
You will see crappy at-bats.
You'll see crappy at-bats in October.
The Dodgers will put together a couple crappy at-bats. It seems rare, but it does happen. Guys will get fooled. Guys will, miss the chance to pull the trigger on a heater down the middle. It happens all the time in this game. But I don't mind, and I don't think necessarily it's toxic. I don't mind the frustration because I'm also frustrated.
Frijola says San Diego has fair weather fans. Well, last year was the most disappointing season in San Diego sports history, and they had the highest attendance in the history of San Diego sports.
They showed up, man. They did.
That's the opposite of fair weather. When things are going poorly, everybody still showed up. So I don't necessarily agree with that either. All right, let's check traffic, and we'll come back. Paulie has put together our Padres wrap-up for yesterday's game, and we can start our discussion of last night's loss to the Cardinals coming up next here on 97.3 The Fan.
Going to score. Tyler Wade cruises into second with an RBI double. Padres have a 2-1 lead. 1-1 by Darvish. Fly ball, pretty well hit. Jackson Merrill going back. He's at the warning track. He's at the wall. He looks up. It's going to be gone. A home run for Wilson Contreras. His second one in the last two nights. A two-run home run that puts the Cardinals on top now 3-2. Padres, of course, with the infield in. Ground ball, slow roller, third base side. Charging is the third baseman Wade. He flips home, but it's not in time. It was a force out at home. It looked like Campusano might have gotten it at time. We'll see if the Padres challenge this one, but a great job by Tyler Wade, who charged. There was nothing more he could do but barehanded, try to flip to Campusano. The home plate umpire, Hunter Wendelstedt, ruling that he beat the backhanded flip throw.
Oh, his foot never was on the bag. It was a great play by Wade to get to the ball and glove flip, but his foot, Campusano had set up just in front of home plate.
0-2 to Herrera. Fly ball to center field. Jackson Merrill going back, drifting over towards his left, shy of the warning track. He makes the catch. Tagging up is Goldschmidt. He'll score easily, and the Cardinals now have a 5-2 lead on the sacrifice fly off the bat of Ivan Herrera. The pitch popped up on the infield right side. Paul Goldschmidt calling for it, waiting, makes the catch, and that'll do it. The Cardinals take game number 2 by a score of 5-2. After taking the opener 6-2, Padres will try to salvage the final game of the series tomorrow. It'll be Joe Musgrove on the mound going up against Zach Thompson.
Overall, yes, I feel good about where we're at offensively. We always want to be able to string things together. I haven't looked at and it's a little early, but it is, an indicator of where we are in the league relative to what we're doing in a lot of different areas, and a lot of different areas that, we wanted to pay attention to and be better at. We are. We'd like to continue to, be hitting 400 with runner scoring position, but I feel like the approach there, the intent's there. I've yet to see a guy take a bat off.
All right, that's your skipper, Mike Schilt, and a long Padres wrap-up this morning, Benny, and was texting with my buddy Chill, John Hoover, Hoover, and he said, it's early. And I go, because I texted him, I go, man, there's the clutch gene has not showed itself yet. And he goes, it's early. And I go, yeah, but it's the same guys from last year that still don't possess that gene yet. It has not reared its beautiful head, the clutch gene.
You'd say that, but as Schultz said, they're hitting 400 with runners with scoring position.
Yeah, but I mean, like seventh inning and beyond. Somebody coming up with an opportunity to win a ball game, to tie a ball game. We had that first one where they grounded out and they were down and behind a few times. That's what I thought I was going to see a lot more of. And listen, it's only been a few days since then, not even a week yet. So that may show up again. But when it's the usual suspects, you're like, it's that it starts to kick in again, and you go, I don't want this again this year, guys. And
let's see how long it takes to win 4 in a row. Let's see how long it takes to get a sweep.
Yeah.
Can't wait until late August, early September.
100%. I mean, those were all we established this as a show, as a fan base, I think, before the season. We talked to when we interviewed Skip Schumacher, whose team is 0-6 right now, and he is in the torture chamber. I said, what do you think they need to do? He goes, they need to win a 1-run game, ASAFP, and they need to win 4 in a row. All those things that we all wanted to see them check off, those are some benchmarks that I think would go a long way in kind of calming everybody down.
I mean, one of the things we wanted to see yesterday was need a pitcher to throw like an ace and go deep into the game.
God, he was
and
great.
Yu Darvish did.
He was fantastic.
7 innings. Now, as I was leaving the ballpark, it actually was the inning in which Wilson Contreras hit the home run. So I'm listening to Scan and Tony, and they were glowing. They were going, this is the greatest. I mean, I don't know. We've seen you this efficient. He was only at like 49 pitches. He is absolutely dominating. I mean, he's getting the Cardinals quick outs. He's getting his defense
jinx him?
In behind him. I don't know. I mean, then they said, and Bob said, I'm a pitcher, and that pitch that Yu Darvish threw to Wilson Contreras, it was down. It was a splitter. It's just a great piece of hitting by Wilson Contreras, and that does happen. I guess the Padres are going to need a little more of that great hitting somehow themselves to overcome what the other team did. He was clutch. The Cardinals were 0-6 with runners in scoring position.
Bro.
They had almost no base runners, no hits with runners in scoring position, and somehow won the game 5-2.
It's maddening.
Yeah.
And when I was again driving home, Jordan Walker leads off with that double up. Damn it! And the way that I am, I'm like, you got to pull him. Go to the pen. Schultz stuck with him, and what does he do? Gets out of it. KK fly out to end it, and I'm like, I'm pounding my chest in the car, like, that's my for Yu Darvish. I was so fired up. Game 8 of the season, and then to come out and have 7-pitch inning when we're at the plate is just so brutal. It's so brutal. That's tough. It's a tough one, but definitely a tough loss to swallow. You name those stats that you just named, and you're like, all right, don't get weird this year. Let's not have those weird anomalies pop up where the guy gives up 3 runs and you lose 3-2. Now I know that the Cardinals tacked on later, but man, just a tough one to swallow. And we're on to St. Louis today at 1:10.
We're almost to the point where I need a win today. You're off tomorrow. I need a sweep of the Giants.
100%. Let's get this thing going.
Knock off the sweep and a 4-game win streak. Just get it out of the way.
Get it out of the way.
It would be nice to check that box early in the season.
Yeah, it really would.
And just get a nice string of good play together before it becomes an elephant in the room. All right, we'll continue to talk about the game. Then we'll play some Take on Woods when we come back. Hour number 2 of Ben Woods coming up next here on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Just continuing to take shots in the YouTube chat this morning. Drew says, I wonder how many people who get the chance to throw out the first pitch leave the game early. Feels kind of disrespectful to the team and the game. I mean, we watch 162 pretty much start to finish all year long.
Who's this?
I had to go back to Channel 10 to do the late news last night, and I needed to prepare.
Yeah, I've got two small children.
And we also host a 6 a.m. radio show.
Oh.
But you will not find three guys who are more locked into Padres baseball than we are. Come on, Drew. Come on, Drew.
Lame gatekeeping.
You're better than that.
You're better than that, Drew. Come on, bud.
So,
imagine carting your 6-year-old and 3-year-old around the game. They loved the new playground, by the way, at Gallagher Square. It was
the slide and the new baseball field.
What I realized is I can never take my kids to a ball game that I want to watch ever. Never, ever.
Beeline straight for the playground.
They loved it so much.
It's a cool playground.
It's awesome.
It's really cool.
Awesome. And I'm sitting out there, I'm like trying to poke my head up to watch the game on the big screen, and I'm like, okay, we gotta go. It was gnarly.
And the little ballpark out there is fantastic with the Jack in the Box head on the foul pole and Tatis on the wall. And actually, I saw Chris Ello yesterday when I was there, and I said, when Michael Ciani came up for the Cardinals, I go, do you know Michael Ciani's claim to fame here in San Diego?
So who the fudge is Michael
Ciani? He was the left fielder for the Cardinals, young player last night. I go, he's the guy who hit the ball that Tatis went and took back over the wall last season that is now the iconic picture, the iconic on the Little League. Well, that was Michael Ciani who actually lost a home run to Fernando Tatis Jr. on his way to the Platinum Glove out in right field. No one remembers his name, but they remember the Tatis catch and him pulling it back from beyond the wall at Petco Park.
This is cheerleader 101, I suppose, but Gallagher Square is awesome. I really enjoyed walking around. It's so much more open. It looks great.
It was killer.
I was talking to down on the field yesterday before the first pitch, Chris Connolly. He's the chief marketing officer for the Padres now. His background is with Disney and Disneyland in particular, and he said the thought process was like we wanted it to look like a land at Disneyland. I go, I couldn't connect those dots. I go, that is the perfect
baseball
way of
land.
Summarizing it. Like you go to Disneyland, there's like Star Wars, Galaxy Land, and all that. And I'm like, yes, it looks like its own separate land.
Even with
now.
having like the little tunnels connecting,
yes.
like they have the tunnel at the Tony Gwynn tunnel.
100%.
That is very.
It makes perfect sense.
That is very clever, and might as well bring it up again. We mentioned him a little bit in our show yesterday when we learned of his passing, but they had the moment of silence for Larry Lucchino before the game yesterday. It was an honor to be out on the field during that moment, but it was Larry's vision of a park that included, at that time called the Park at the Park, that had not been done at a Major League Baseball ballpark before. I mean, before Petco Park and Camden Yards, which was also kind of Larry Lucchino, the idea was get as many seats around a big ring as possible so you could, sell as many tickets as possible. And he changed the experience to be one, hey, let's turn this into more of a organic, people move around. You can see from like the concourses as you're walking along.
Those ring stadiums were just the worst.
And I grew up going to the Kingdom in Seattle.
I went to
the concourse. It was completely closed in. You had to walk down a tunnel to see any part of the field. Now you can see it from anywhere.
Yeah, 114 degrees going out to watch Toby Hara play and Buddy Bell. Let's go.
And this was really one of Larry Lucchino's many, but one of his biggest impacts on the game of baseball is the retro ballpark, the more open feel, less is more. Like, you don't need to pack in 60,000 people to a baseball game. Let's try to make it a 40,000 to 45,000 experience that really works for everybody at a lot of different price levels. I know, Gallagher Square tickets are a little more expensive now when they first opened, but remember when Petco Park first opened, it cost $5 to get into the Park at the Park and just enjoy. Yep. And it was, the Park at the Park was not as spectacular as it is today, but then and they've done such a great job of not just upkeep, which is difficult. Some ballparks can't even keep up keep things looking kind of new from when they opened, but actually upgrading. Petco Park is much better today than it was 20 years ago when it opened. That's just a plain fact. It's not gotten worse with time. It has only gotten better and better with time. And the Gallagher Square,
much like yourself,
renovation. Thank you.
Yeah.
The Gallagher Square renovation is just the latest in a long series of upgrades that have continued to make Petco Park, which was already special when it was opened, into the class of Major League Baseball. I know they come out with rankings, and sometimes people say, "Oh, we like PNC, or we like Oracle, or we like Camden Yards." For my money, you're not going to get a better day in, day out experience going to a baseball game than you're going to get at Petco Park.
It's the best, man.
Location,
it's
atmosphere, food options, everything about it is just better than what you're going to get around Major League Baseball.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. And, that the year that they kind of put it together a little bit and made that run, there was no place I would have rather been than Petco Park during those runs. I mean, it was just it was incredible. I want that again. I need it. I need to get it back in my veins ASAP.
So a salute to Larry Lucchino for that vision and for helping transform downtown San Diego. We need a contestant for Take on Woods, 833-288-0973. Now, I will bring up, and we'll get back to the game in a little bit, I will bring up that Petco Park was built thanks to the passage of Prop C and San Diego getting behind that vision. Now, times have changed. Did you see what happened yesterday in Kansas City, in Jackson County, Missouri, the home
what
of
happened here?
The Royals and the Chiefs? Well, they had a ballot measure. It was an election day yesterday in Jackson County, and they needed to get 50% of the vote to basically maintain a sales tax that they had on the books for a long time that was going to fund the new Royals Stadium and a bunch of upgrades to Arrowhead Stadium for the Chiefs. And it went down, and it went down hard. 58% voted no on a sales tax to fund those ballparks. And it is really a sign of the times that you no longer, even in the Midwest, this isn't California, this is the heart of sports country from a team, the Chiefs, coming off a Super Bowl title. I know the Royals have not been good lately, but the Chiefs were part of this, coming off a Super Bowl win. And they couldn't even get 50% of the people to vote for a tax to support what is, and I think everyone realizes this now, while I think professional sports adds richness to a town, and I'd rather be in a town with sports and sports teams like the Padres, it's a private business. And there's no obligation from public citizens to support that private business. I'd probably vote yes if I was there just because I'm a massive sports fan, but I would not ever expect someone who doesn't care about baseball or football to go, well, this is just good for our town. Because economically, those arguments, I don't know, hold water. I think culturally, yeah, it's great to have sports for sports fans, and you want to keep them there. But you can't expect the population anymore. When you see what teams are valued at and what owners are making across the board in the NFL, in Major League Baseball, in the NBA, the era of publicly funded stadium subsidies seems to be coming to an end. So they need to figure out a way now in Kansas City, if they want a new ballpark, they're going to have to pay for it themselves. And that's just simply the way of the world now. And unfortunately, here in San Diego, we were a little before that curve. And, the Chargers were able to get help with their stadium from Kroenke up in Los Angeles where they had an option. But you can't just threaten to move every time you don't get a tax passed.
100%, man.
It's not going to happen anymore. You're going to have a different method of paying for stadiums going forward.
I couldn't agree more, man. I think that, somebody in the chat, and it's going to be split. People say, man, how do you not support those teams? You do.
You do. You buy tickets.
They support the crap
out of those
teams. You go to the games.
You buy tickets. You support their sponsors. There are ways that you can financially support your team
without raising your
without
taxes.
asking taxpayers to divert funds that should probably be going for things like, firefighters and public parks and things like that, as opposed to a private business, which is what sports is. And anyone who ever told you, well, it's more of a public trust, it's a private business.
Yeah.
That's what they are, and they can make a lot of money. I mean, there's good owners and there's bad owners, but you look at the bad ones like John Fisher in Oakland, and I believe he's going to make an appearance and Don't Do This in a second again. And you wonder, you just can't be held hostage by, the demand for a new stadium anymore. And Kansas City said no.
And
they
it
said
straight up,
no.
It straight up sucks to hear owners, well, if I don't get my way, I'm probably going to move. Move then. Move. Start that over again.
Go for it. Go for it, Chiefs.
Go. Where you going to go?
You got to see an army of red-clad fans every week who loves that team. You're really going to go play
smart
somewhere else? Going to move to Lincoln, Nebraska?
Yeah, Salt Lake City. Enjoy.
Don't think so.
No, it's not happening.
All right, we'll get back to the game in a minute, right? Let's play a little Take on Woods. Take on Woods brought to you by Valvoline Instant Oil Change. It only takes 15 minutes and you don't have to get out of your car. For directions and discounts, go to SoCalOilChange.com. That's SoCalOilChange.com. Matthew is our contestant today. Matthew, how are you?
I'm doing great. And yourself?
Oh, I love the quality of your phone line. I'm very happy about that. All right, you are playing to try to qualify for our 2-night stay at the Westgate Las Vegas Resort and Casino and 2 tickets to Kool and the Gang. Get your own tickets now at Ticketmaster.com and check out the $70 million in room renovations at the Westgate, home of legendary Vegas fun. All right, here are your categories for our musical trivia game. Chow Time. Those are artists and song titles, including the word eat. You Are My Sunshine. Those are 5 more musical answers, including the word sunshine. And our new category today is One Life to Live. Those are 5 song titles that either begin or end with the word life. Chow Time, You Are My Sunshine, or One Life to Live. Matthew, what would you like to play?
I'll do One Life to Live.
One Life to Live. All right, 60 seconds to answer as many of the 5 as you can. You can pass if you don't know an answer. First question's the 2-second song. Paulie's going to play you some music. Need to give me the song title and the artist to score the point on that one. Get your score locked in, then Woods comes back with no help on the category. And if you beat or tie him, we'll put you into the drawing for the grand prize trip to Vegas. All right, rules in place. Matthew, are you ready to play?
I'm ready. Thank you.
Paulie, you're good?
I'm good.
All right, 60 seconds on the clock. Your time begins when Paul plays our music in the category One Life to Live. Good luck, Matthew. Let's take on Woods.
Pass.
Spending over a year on the Billboard charts, which 2006 song was the breakthrough hit for The Fray?
Pass.
Co-written by David Bowie, which 1977 hit by Iggy Pop is known by sports radio listeners as Jim Rome's Top of the Hour theme song.
Pass.
Country artist Rascal Flatts covered which Tom Cochrane song for the soundtrack to the Pixar movie Cars?
Life is a Highway.
Correct. The band American Authors says it wrote which 2013 hit song to try and make people feel happy?
Pass.
Back to our 2-second song.
Oh, God.
Quickly.
I know this one. I'm so sorry.
That's all right. You did get the one. You got Life is a Highway.
I do not
Tom
think
Cochrane.
that's going to get enough.
No, I don't think this is the toughest category. That was Life in the Fast Lane by the Eagles you just heard. The phrase hit How to Save a Life. Lust for Life is the name of that drum-heavy Iggy Pop song that Jim Rome has always used. And the American Authors song is called The Best Day of My Life. I think Woods hates it, but I think he's going to know at least 4, if not all of these. We'll see. All right, Matthew's score is locked in. Okay. Woodsy in the dark on the category. 60 seconds back on the clock. Woods, your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck. Let's take on Matthew.
Ooh, Life in the Fast Lane, the Eagles.
Correct. Spending over a year on the Billboard charts, which 2006 song was the breakthrough hit for The Fray?
Pass.
Co-written by David Bowie, which 1977 hit by Iggy Pop is known by sports radio listeners as Jim Rome's Top of the Hour theme song.
Lust for Life.
Correct. Country artist Rascal Flatts covered which Tom Cochrane song?
Life is a Highway.
Correct. The band American Authors says it wrote which 2013 hit song?
Best Day of My Life.
Correct. Spending over a year on the Billboard charts, which 2006 song was the breakthrough hit for The Fray?
How to Save a Life.
There you go. That's a 5 for 5 and a win for Woodsy. in the category One Life
Well done.
to Live.
Thank you, boys.
Well done. All right, Don't Do This is we'll play again Real or Fake tomorrow on a Throwback Thursday. Give someone else a chance to qualify for Vegas. All right, Don't Do This is next. I teased it a little bit. So someone recovered a memo from the Oakland Coliseum yesterday.
Just unreal.
And you always think, is it possible for the A's to look any worse? But they seem to keep digging themselves deeper and deeper into a hole every single day. Get to that coming up next with Ben and Woods after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan. Don't Do This is brought to you by the Craft Taco in Sorrento Valley. The Craft Taco has some of the best quality tacos in all of San Diego. Go to thecrafttaco.com. Take a look at their happy hour specials today. Thecrafttaco.com. I was actually so nervous I didn't even eat
same
last night.
Not a thing.
All the great food options, and it was like my stomach is rumbling, gurgling too much to actually try to consume food.
Couldn't eat a lick. Nothing before last night's game,
Nope.
dude. No, I'm with you.
Nope.
I will get us started here this morning. And look, here in San Diego, we are no stranger to, well, I mean, we all know what happened during the playoffs, and that's what's in scene. When that happened here,
That's what's in.
Yeah, it's left an indelible mark on San Diego, and people are triggered by it.
Saw us being compared to those guys.
I saw that yesterday, and I said, I don't like that comparison.
I said, I don't think you
Throwing
like us
out a
very
first
much.
pitch, that's what's in.
That's what's in.
I saw us getting a lot of blame for the Padres.
I saw
loss.
one guy. That guy wants to make love to me, though. No one has ever tweeted
As I
anymore.
said,
What's his name? Rob?
everyone knows first pitch vibes last 5 innings.
Five
and we were
innings.
up 2-1 when
Yeah.
our first pitch vibes ran out.
That's common knowledge.
That guy's such a load. He knows who he is.
He's listening right now.
The Phillies have started, a little slowly, 2-3. Big expectations for that team as well. And I just implore everyone out there to just stop writing songs, producing songs about the team that you like. It just never goes well. Saw this yesterday, was tweeted into my timeline. I immediately retweeted it. I was thinking about the inordinate amount of grief we took from Phillies fans who are mean. They're mean fans with the That's What's In scene. And I saw this one, and I thought to myself, sorry, fellas, this one's worth. Listen to this.
What you know about Phillies fans? Record 3 million in the stands, going hard every season. Red and white will be bleeding, like Mike Schmidt on third base, like J. Rowe at home plate. Can't stop us, it's too late. It's a repeat of the 80.
I need, first of all, I need more from him. I have to find out who it is. I need all of it. But it's...
What you know about Phillies fans? Record 3 million in the stands.
Is he country or is he a rapper?
We don't
country
know.
rap.
That's like Sam Hunt.
Crap.
It's going hard every season. Red and white will be bleeding, like Mike Schmidt on third base, like J. Rowe at home plate. Can't stop us, it's too late.
Yeah. Country rap, a.k.a. crap. Got him again. He loves when I combine those things. It gets it. Nothing gets him worse than that. Yeah, crap.
Country plus rap.
Crap. He is in a dugout at like a high school.
I'm good. I'm
And
good.
he is got his hat on backwards, and he's got his shades on, and his cross is out of his thing, and his Phillies jersey's open, and he is full on doing the move. So somebody said, hey, do we have the right to talk, Woodsy? When I tweeted it, ours was worse. I go, buddy, you're talking about 5 middle-aged goober dads that were just doing a bit. This guy produced this. He wrote it. He went in the studio. He mixed it, and he has the this is way worse. And I mean way worse.
I still think ours is worse.
No chance. When you say, I'm going to write a song that sounds like Sam Hunt, you are the worst. That's the worst you can do.
Did it come out yesterday, or just did we see it yesterday?
I saw it
Because
yesterday.
Phillies got 3 home runs from Bryce Harper yesterday.
Maybe I jinxed
in a
us
win.
then.
And maybe this is the song that turns their season around, but I hope not.
Just stop.
Padres on the loose. Let's go, Goose.
Kinda
That's
like it.
what's
You know what? I
in.
like it. I'm in on it. Just a bunch of dads having fun. I'm in on it. I'm
Bryce gonna lose, and Manny's gonna cruise.
right. Yeah.
That's an interesting hill to
It's-
take.
it
your
was-
stand
embrace
on
it.
over there.
Embrace it.
For me, that one's worse because of the context going into the NLCS.
Ours is not worse than that.
Tempting fate like that? Are you kidding me?
Ours is not worse.
No, it's absolutely
And
worse.
doing it like on the cheesiest local TV station
It's
and
very-
everything at the same time.
Ben,
Listen.
taking shots. I like it.
They're just some dads having fun. You tell dad jokes. Just guys doing dad jokes. That guy sucks. The Phillies guy, he sucks.
Those guys, that's what's in guys, were in our building, and Woods was hiding from them.
I put up like
we put up a
screen.
We
so
put up a sign. We put up
a
a sign on our door that says "Gone Fishing."
People say ours is worse.
Ours is 1,000% worse.
Well, I guess you guys all love country rap then, which is embarrassing in its own right. Embarrassing.
No,
Play it again.
What you know about Phillies fans? Record 3 million in the stands, going hard every season.
Hey, welcome to Moonshine Flats, everybody. Let's kick some ass. It's the worst thing.
Well, unfortunately,
I've ever heard.
Here's the thing. It's not for me. I could pull up the Spotify numbers. People do like that type of music. Sam Hunt is wildly popular.
People like White Dad
Nobody
rap too.
likes That's What's In. Not a single person out there is like, oh, this kind of slaps.
Odyssey needs to start a new station. KRAP. Country Rap Station. San Diego's leader in country rap. It's KRAP in the mornings.
I disagree fully. Just a couple dads having fun, you know?
All right, I'm going to move on to the Oakland Athletics, and this was circulating around from last night's game against the Boston Red Sox. Looks authentic. It was posted that this was found in the stands, the very empty stands of the Oakland Coliseum. Last night's game, it appears to be a memo that is handed out to behind-the-scenes personnel like ushers and staff at the Coliseum. It has notes like customer service, engage with the customers, direct them online if we don't have what they're looking for, keep everything neat, clean, organized. Fine. Then it goes on to product and says this. If you see anything that says rooted in Oakland, it must be taken down immediately.
Man.
Try not to highlight product that focuses on the name Oakland. And you can see that they are they're working.
You're playing in Oakland.
They're working very hard to try to excise the idea of Oakland from the Oakland A's.
People that are watching the game in Oakland.
I also like this one. Item of the game: denim jacket, 50% off, only $89.99.
How about read the bottom part
and
about the gate?
Seagate closure. If attendance is under 5,000 for the game, the team will be closing Seagate. There was a picture of like three dudes sitting 1 mile away at the top of, the Coliseum stands, like the third deck on the top row, with no one there. They could have moved 80 rows ahead if they wanted and sat right by the field, but they just decided, you know what, we're going to a game, we're going to sit at the very top of the rafters. So yesterday the A's actually did meet with the city of Oakland, and I love what Oakland's doing here. They know that if the A's leave, they lose their $67 million a year TV deal. Even if they go to Sacramento, if they go to Salt Lake City, they lose their TV deal. So the A's, who have no really interest or care or the Oakland has no interest or care if the A's stay anymore, said, oh, you want to extend your lease to stay around at the Coliseum? Sure. That'll be $97 million if you'd like to stay for 3 more years. Basically, we know what you'll make if you stay, and we're going to take half of that from you. Now, what are your options? You can leave and get nothing, but not pay the 97. But you're getting the 180 plus million from your TV contract, but you have to send half of that to the city of Oakland. Or you leave and you get nothing from Sacramento or Salt Lake City, and still probably have to lease a ballpark somewhere. They put them in a nice little bind
tight
here
little
going,
corner.
You want to stay? Yeah.
Standing in the corner, just going,
pony up.
How did I get
We'd like
here?
97 million of that, please, if you're going to stay. So good for Oakland sticking it to the A's when they know they don't have any other options right now.
Let me get that denim jacket though for 50% off and see what's up with that denim jacket. All right, let's hit some do this.
DD Mega Doo-Doo.
Our beloved Sammy Levitt is just the best. And as we're heading to the ballpark yesterday, my wife is driving us there, and I'm scrolling through Twitter, and my heart rate went through the roof. I'm giving Sammy the do this because I loved this. It was so smart to do, and it made our experience so much worse, which is just good journalism every single time. We're driving to the ballpark, and I see Sammy interviewing Jake Cronenworth, and this is how that went.
Jake, finally, I know each spring and throughout the season, you do appear on Ben and Woods from time to time. You know Ben Woods and Paul pretty well.
Annual guest.
Yes, annual guest. They are throwing at a first pitch here at Petco Park tonight. Your expectations for them tonight?
My expectations are fairly high because now that I'm thinking about it, they have gone to fantasy camp pretty much every year for a long time now. And the pressure's on. So if they don't throw strikes,
no strikes,
there might be a problem. I might call in on the radio show.
Not one strike.
All right. Tomorrow morning, Wednesday morning, Ben and Woods, you don't throw strikes. Jake Cronenworth calling in at a 9 a.m., let's say. Maybe something like that.
Yeah.
Jake, as always, appreciate the time. Best of luck tonight, and best of luck with everything throughout the rest of this series.
It's just for him.
We'll see if Jake thinks we threw strikes, he won't call in. If he thinks we didn't throw strikes, he will give us a call this morning. I think you can argue, Woods, yours might have caught the outside corner.
Or maybe cut
I
some
think
black.
mine got the knees before it crossed home plate. Even though Johnny Brito couldn't handle it, I think it could have been a strike. And Paulie's was inside, but it probably tipped off the bat or something. One of those inside.
It is the guy's
but
head.
I bounced it.
Poor Ben.
A lot of strikes bounced.
He didn't know.
I had no idea that Johnny Brito boxed it so badly at the time because I was completely blacking out. So
it was a full blackout. Thank you, Sammy, for that.
So Jake,
but I saw that in the car, and I swole up. Like I was like.
Dude. I was like, oh my God, oh my God,
so
oh
great.
my God,
so
oh my
thank
God.
you, Sammy.
Jake, if you want, 833-288-0973.
Yeah.
Phone line's always open to you. We would love you to be on more than annually with the Ben and Woods program.
100%. I think our audience would too.
How about quarterly, Jake? Can we move it up to quarterly or at least semi-annually? Other than just annually on the Ben and Woods show, you got 1 out of 365 days for us, Jake.
Yeah,
Thanks
I
a
mean,
lot.
if you cared, about the fan base and stuff, you'd probably call once a week. That's just how I feel, but I guess you know.
That's Don't and Do This for a Wednesday.
That was Don't Do This with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
Coupled by the fact that when we got out onto the field and he went out to do his pregame sprints, he was staring over at us and hitting himself in the chest. And then goes, don't bounce it, and he's hitting himself in the chest.
We were on the warning track, basically on the opposing
third base
on-deck circle.
Yeah. And he's running
Crony was stretching in shallow right field, screaming across the diamond.
And then he gave me the I'll call in. So we're waiting anytime.
Great defense yesterday by Jake. Had a hit, had a walk, and nearly
105 off the bat.
Had a game tying or even go ahead knock late in the game, but unfortunately just in the wrong place.
We'll talk about it more because there's still a lot of this game we need to break down.
We got Adam Jones coming up next, though, calling in from wherever he's calling in from today. Always a surprise with Adam Jones. He is next with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan. We've got Adam Jones standing by from Parts Unknown, so let's get to our check of traffic, and then when we come back, our weekly conversations with AJ resume here with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Well, guys, that crash has cleared on northbound 805 near 43rd. Now getting reports of a stalled vehicle on the transition ramp northbound 163 at the eastbound 8 connector ramp. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The
The guy is everywhere. I mean, Europe, Asia, North America. He's trying to hit every continent, I think, on Earth this year as we welcome Adam Jones back to the Ben and Woods program here on 97.3 The Fan. Where are you today, AJ?
Good to talk to you guys. I'm back home in Barcelona. Traveling is good because I'm building up all these points and hotel stays. So future travel will be free.
It's like the endless cycle. Like you travel so much, and then you build up the points, and then you get to go travel again before they expire. After the last couple years with you, man, or whatever. Where's left to go? What do you and Mrs.
what's on
Jones
the bucket list still? Antarctica?
Yeah. What do you guys sit down? You sit down and go, what's next?
Don't tell my wife that. I said that the other day, and man, it wasn't pretty. So, because I'm literally, where else have we? We've traveled for 10 families for a long time.
Oh yeah.
But no, there's Sicily still left. We got to go back to Tuscany. There's the hotel that I always botch, but Castillo de Bagliano, whatever it is. It's a beautiful hotel. I always botch the name.
It's all right.
But there's according to her, there's still about 45 places to go.
Amazing. That's absolutely amazing. I know you've been following along with the.
I can't make all of them.
I know you've been following along with the baseball season. It's always the best time of year when it gets started. A little bit of a slow start. Here's some slow starts across the game. What has been your kind of assessment of the Padres early on under new skipper Mike Shildt?
I mean, obviously, you got a new manager, you got new energy. I think it was great starting at home with the Giants and BMO and Snell coming back. I was unable to see the introductions. Was it a big boo for?
Bomel got a boo.
How was the reaction?
Yeah, Bomel got pretty much booed.
They
did not introduce Snell in the reserves. They only introduced the Giants starters. But anytime anyone saw Blake,
but they put him up on the big screen.
He got a cheer.
He got a big cheer. Which is to be understood. Good. That's expected.
Of course, but I mean, it's to me, it's baseball. You know what I mean? I know we always say that, but my big signs is you got Cronenworth getting off to a good start.
Yep.
I like what Merrill, that energy he's bringing every day. I know people want to see him every single day. There's going to be days that he's 21 years old, so you're still going to have to take care of him. I think Shildt, being a veteran manager, will try and protect him as best as he can, and give him the proper days off. But I just like the energy. I like Wade. Wade's been picking up the slack at third base. Obviously, you want Manny back there. Manny's not a DH. He doesn't. Obviously, he prefers to be in the field. He'll be back there as soon as he can be back there, and that's when his production, I believe, will go up because it's hard to be a DH at the end of the day. It's really, really hard to do that, especially when you are so talented on the defensive end. I think when your defense diminishes and you know that, and everybody knows that, and they just be like, yeah, just so hit, then that is more of a comfort. But Manny is still elite over there. So I think when he gets back over in the hot corner, his offense will just go right back to where it normally is. So I'm never worried about him. But I just like the excitement, man. They're in every game. I know they've lost the nail biters, but I like what the bottom of the lineup is doing. And the young guys, obviously, there's some guys I'm watching the games I'm not knowing necessarily who they are yet, but I like how Zokar's getting in the game. He's impacting, he's running. But again, it's a young season, and there's a lot of baseball left to be played.
Well, and Adam, you played on some veteran teams, and you played on some young up-and-coming teams. You played on all kinds. When you were on a veteran team and you did get the kind of influx from the younger rookies, and I know it was a different era, right? And you guys messed with those guys, and we heard all kinds of stories, but you did it because that's what was done to you, but you respected them if they could actually play and put up numbers, certainly. What does that do for a team full of veterans to get guys like Jackson Merrill and Graham Pauley up and, contributing a little bit?
I mean, it keeps him. And I forgot to mention Campo.
Yeah, Campy's been great.
It keeps you young. Campy's been great. He's gotten off to a really good start, tighter and tighter. I think he needs to go a little bit tighter. But he's getting off to a good start. But the young guys keep the old guys young. You know what I mean? I know. Obviously, Manny is still at 31, but he's seasoned. It keeps him young. Him and Bogey. It keeps these guys so far. It just keeps these guys young and loose. And again, these are guys who are models on how to be a major leaguer. I think Jackson Merrill has a very, very bright future to stay in the big leagues for a very long time. But again, he's going to have to learn how to be a major leaguer and learn in this era how to be a major leaguer. So I think he has really good guys around him. And, having Manny around him, having Musgrove, having Darvish, having those veteran guys around him will do him wonders.
Adam Jones is with us here on 97.3 The Fan, and I know you were in Baltimore to help the Orioles kick off another season. They're off to a decent start at 3-2. That division just looks monstrous this year. I mean, the NL West is pretty monstrous outside of the Rockies, but there's no nights off in the AL East. How do you see that shaping up? Yankees off to a good start, obviously, with Soto. Even the Red Sox, who I thought were going to be afterthoughts, they played well. Now they're playing the A's. That helps a little bit now, but that is a tough division right there, Adam.
I mean, speaking of the Orioles, I talk about them heavily on the Adam Jones podcast, and look, they're going to have a really good, strong year. They're going to be around. They're going to take bumps. They're going to take lumps. They're going to give out just as many as they get. It's a young team that has tasted success, so they're not afraid of the big picture, of the big game. They're not afraid of the Sunday night game. You remember going into a Dodger Stadium, going into a Yankee Stadium, or Boston back in the day. That Sunday night game, that was a tough game. They want those games. They want the primetime games, and I think those guys are prime and ready. And it's a long season, so I just think that as long as they stay healthy like everybody else, they're going to get back Means. Hopefully they get back Bradish in due time.
Yep.
And, those are going to feel like big trades as long as they stay, playing really good ball. Again, the Yankees are going to be without Cole until he says June 1st. The Red Sox, you never know. If they get off to a hot start, they can be ultra buyers. If they get off to a slow start, they can sell the farm. The Blue Jays are my biggest concern. I just think that they are a team that I think this is their year to either put up or shut up. We've been talking about them being the most talented team in baseball, I think, for the last 3 or 4 years. And on paper, you can't argue that they are arguably one of the most talented teams, especially in the American League East, in baseball. Put them up there with the Braves and Dodgers when you just come to pure athleticism, position by position. And I think it's their year to either put up or shut up. They've had chance, and they went and signed some big free agents with Springer and bringing in Gosman. So I think they're the biggest challenge. Personally, the Yankees, obviously, again, if they're winning, they're buying. And we know that. If they're losing, they're buying. So the Evil Empire, keep the Evil Empire down as long as you can. But again, they're getting off to a very good start, and I'm sure Soto can't wait to get back home because he's been just absolutely tearing the cover off the ball. And someone told me this. They said that this is the perfect place for Soto to be because New York will force him to be accountable for everything.
Yeah.
And it's just crazy. It's because New York media is different. Every media is different. I was fortunate to Baltimore media. They weren't ripping you no matter what you did. You know what I mean? You had to really say something to draw any sort of national news. But in New York, they're on your case every day. You go 0 for 10, you don't get a hit in a series, they're wearing you out. Obviously, they do that in San Diego, but it's all over ESPN and all that kind of stuff. So I think that, this is a city that's going to, and being a free agent year, it's going to hold him accountable. And hell, he's projected to be the AL MVP, so you might see him get one.
I wanted to ask you. You spent some time with the Orioles and in the off season. I wanted to ask you about Jackson Holliday. And were you surprised he didn't make the club? I mean, I saw a lot of people saying, "Oh, here we go, new ownership, and there's this huge, 100 wins. There's this huge injection of O's fans that are back at the ballpark, and then they go ahead and they send Jackson Holliday down." Did you, in your opinion, did you think he was ready to come up and contribute right now, or did he need that extra 3 weeks or whatever they're going to keep him down for?
I mean, I think the beauty of it is that he went deep in his first at bat. Again, I'm not the shot caller. I have an opinion like everybody else.
Yeah.
My honest opinion of it is I just think that he just needs to get a little bit of seasoning of facing the disgruntled guy who didn't get sitting down, who didn't make the major league team. That's my only argument. Is he tore up every level last year. It's just his numbers were outstanding. But again, he was facing, I'm not going to say lesser talent because he got the AAA, but he wasn't facing the guys the disgruntled guys. He was already facing the guys who were maybe AA and got the call up. This time he's facing that guy who you've seen get optioned on the 28th, the 28th guy, the 27th guy who doesn't make the team. He's getting to face that guy who's like, oh man, Jackson Holly, I'm about to draw, man. In that whole lineup, by the way, let's not forget about Kerstad, Norby, Stowers, and Mayo. Like what? All of those. They go five. Those are the first 5 hitters in the lineup, and all of them right now could be on a major league team. It's a log jam in Baltimore. I think some moves will be made depending on how certain people struggle and certain people, perform. But I just think that for him to go down there and face the guys who are the major league talent and face them again and get more reps at second base, I think he's going to be up very, very soon. I just think that was the only, if I had one argument to say, that was it. Because again, he's a major league player. He has a major league persona. He has a major league attitude. And sometimes you just need a little extra seasoning. It's not going to damper. It's not going to he don't need more money. It ain't money. Let's be honest with yourself, okay? You got money. So I just think that a little more seasoning in AAA, a little bit better defenses in AAA, the disgruntled outfielder, the disgruntled shortstop, whoever, somebody is disgruntled that didn't make the big league team. And he's not disgruntled. He's coming in as the bright-eyed, young, wet behind the ears kid that's like, I'm about to tear y'all asses apart. And that's exactly what he got off the start of doing. And that's all he can do. Talk with your bat. I got sent down. I got called up at 20. He's going to get called up at 20. Do what you need to do. Go down there and let your bat do the talking.
Love it.
Before you go, Adam, I want to give you and other professional athletes, baseball players, credit for performing as you do in front of so many people. Oh. We're on radio, we're on television, we're used to being in front of an audience, but having to do something athletic, even just throwing a baseball. I was so nervous last night for the first pitch, and you've seen me. I mean, I can swing golf sticks.
He can swing it.
I'm not incompetent, but you put me in front of 40,000 plus, and everybody was in their seats last night. It was terrifying. It was terrifying. I know you saw the video. You got any thoughts?
I did. Well, first off, the two that made it, Mr. Woods and Paul, good job.
Thank you.
Look, not everybody is meant to be on the diamond. Some people are meant to be in the booth, and sometimes that's okay to be in the booth. And again, it was a valiant effort. I would have picked it. My guy got to pick that, by the way. He's got to pick that. He's got to pick that for you. He has to pick it. He has to. Major league guy.
He turned his head.
To pick that because it was soft.
Yes, it was soft.
He only turned his head because there were three people. And it was very soft.
They were so
the
close
bounce
to
was
each other
very
too.
Soft, like it was very, very muddy ground because it didn't have much velo behind it.
No, it didn't.
So you think if it was just Ben, you think if it was just one guy, he picks that?
That was my circle change. It was definitely off speed.
But if you look at it, when he released the ball, for some odd reason, all 5 fingers are released, like he's throwing a palm ball from back in
that's my change.
Shoeless Joe Jackson days. So I'm wondering, do you know even how? Did you warm up? Like, do you know how to throw a four-seamer? Stop yelling at people about their four-seamer now. That was your four-seamer. Yeah. Stop yelling at people that they leaked their four-seamer.
I've got the first 5-seamer in baseball.
He's got a 5-seamer. Yeah.
Adam, we'll catch up with you next week, man. Thank you so much.
All right, bro.
I love
there
it.
He is. Get the Adam Jones podcast. Check it out on all his social channels.
He
did say, though, should have been caught.
He did.
Should have been caught.
100%.
I think we agree. Should have been caught.
Do.
All right, we'll come back. We got more about last night's game to talk about, and we got an Incorporator to pay off for the first time this season. All coming up here early in our 8 o'clock hour with Ben and Woods next on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Halfway home on a Wednesday. Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan. Ben made the very astute point earlier off the air. We have different intros for every day, and it's really helped me remember what day it is because they all tend to run together. But when I hear Queens of the Stone Age, I know it's Wednesday, hump day. For the crew here.
What's our lineup again? So
we got Monday is Audio Slave, and then Tuesday is Foreigner. Wednesday is Queens of the Stone Age. Thursday is the Rolling Stones, and Friday is Space Hog.
Nice.
Not a standard radio. Everyone usually, like Jim Rome, we mentioned it earlier. It's always been. Didn't it used to be Welcome to the Jungle?
It's the bottom of the hour.
The bottom of the hour.
That was his bottom of the hour. Top of the hour has always been
Lust for
Iggy
Life.
Pop, and he has not changed that since the days that he was a local host here in San Diego. Consistency.
You either have to change it every year or two, like we
Right,
do, or
right.
you have to keep it forever.
Or you
like
just got to
he's
roll
done.
with it.
Woods, you would not be able to stand the same music for 30 years.
No, there's no chance.
You couldn't survive.
When I started to hear the Rolling Stones, I'd be like,
See, I'm a little the opposite.
I'm
Like
gonna
I
freshen
still
it
like
up.
I still think that "Can't You Hear Me Knockin'" by the Stones is like synonymous with this show.
Yeah, now they all are though. Now they all are, and now it helps me keep track of the days of the week. My own little knuckle method, if you will. I'm Woodsy. That's Paul Reindl. He's the executive producer of the program. Ben Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor, joins us as well, and it's great to be here with you. Would have loved to get that dub last night. Certainly, I had a couple of conversations with some folks about this team as in its current state, Benny. And the common thread is everyone I talk to goes, "Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I can't really put my finger on it." And I went, "Well, that's the analysis that I'm sure our audience wants to hear."
Here's the question. All right, Padres 3-5. Obviously, things are far from perfect. Make a change. What's your change right now? I mean, if you could replace one player on the Padres and you go, let's do something else, where would you do it? Because there's no obvious area where the team is struggling.
Well,
there's no obvious area where the team is rolling.
It's the bull. I think the bullpen.
But which guy?
Which guy?
Which guy would you take out of the bullpen? All right, we need a better bullpen. Remove someone.
Right.
Who is it? Well, yesterday it would have been Matsui, but he was great going into the day.
Yeah.
Early in the season, you might have said Brito, but then he had a really good outing. It's the problem. It's same thing with the lineup. They need better than Tyler Wade later. Well,
Tyler Wade
came through yesterday and has. It was the bottom of the lineup that produced yesterday. It was the top of the order. Oh, take Manny out. No, you're not going to take Manny out. I couldn't even tell you. Oh yeah, they need to do this.
That's what everyone's saying. Is it just not clicking? Is it now? I will say, and I got a couple tweets about this morning. I think you tweeted about it a couple days ago. It sounds like excuse making. Fine, call it whatever you want. They have been a little bit unlucky, and I don't mean one player has been. Oh man, he's just been roping the ball. It's just finding gloves. It's been as a team been fairly unlucky. They're hitting balls hard. The ball that Crony hit last night, expected batting average of almost 500. That's don't. And if you're the hitting coach and you're Mike Schilt and Crony comes back and he's pissed off because he just grounded into a double play, you know what you tell that guy? Don't change a thing. Just keep barreling the baseball. Good things will happen.
I think pretty much every day the other team has a Sports Center top 10 highlight.
Spectacular
Yesterday
catch.
it was Ciani made the top 10.
Yeah, right out the chute.
With his catch in the first inning. I mean, every day there's a play from the other team against the Padres that makes one of Sports Center's top plays of the day.
But one of the people I talked to yesterday said, all right, so, taking into account, I can't really put my finger on what's wrong. Why not switch up the lineup a little bit, at this point? And they said, I'd like to see Fernando Tatis Jr. in the leadoff spot. Just kind of puts the fear of God into the opposing pitcher of this guy can hit one in the gap. This guy can beat out an infield, single, steal second on me. This guy can go out of the ballpark.
So where do you then put Xander?
So I think
because I know your concern with Xander was he does hit a lot of ground balls, and if you put him right behind someone who just got on base, you're adding to the possibility of a double play there.
So the other thing I would do is if we're just throwing out ideas, right? And we talked about it off the air. Maybe try Tatis, Crony in the 2 because he's been good, man. He's been really good. He got a good start.
I don't think it's Crony in the 3 hole that's
No.
worked. I think it's Crony sandwiched between Tatis and Manny that has worked.
So then you do Manny in the 3. Problem is, I think maybe then you do Xander in the 4th because if those guys do go down in order, well, then he's leading off the inning anyway.
Mm-hmm.
If not, hopefully there's a guy on 2nd, 3rd, and the ground ball's not going to kill you there. So Xander in the 4, Kimmy in the 5.
Either he leads off the 2nd or there's a guy on base.
So yeah.
I see in the chat, a Profar for Fam, absolutely easy, Matthew says. Well, Jurickson Profar's .414 on-base percentage has been the best of your regulars in the lineup. Jurickson Profar hasn't been the problem so far this season. So you're not really solving anything by putting Tommy Pham in there. Now, maybe long-term, I can see that argument, that you think consistency,
sure,
Tommy Pham's offense is going to give you more. But it doesn't explain what's been going on the first 8 games. Jurickson hadn't been the problem. If you get a .414 on-base percentage from Jurickson all season long, I mean, that's like all-star. That's exactly what you're looking for. So it's not Jurickson. Ha-Seong Kim's off to a bit of a slow start.
Yeah, a little bit.
Has not performed at the levels that we've seen, but don't really have any worries that Ha-Seong Kim's going to come around and have a decent season. Manny's going to put up his numbers, and I'd imagine the weird offseason with mostly rehab and not being able to play a full spring training in the field is going to contribute to a bit of a wonky start for Manny, but he's going to be there. Jake's off to a really good start. Tatis looks like an MVP. Yeah, Bogaerts has been getting on base. I like his at-bats. No extra base or slugging, which is another reason why dropping him down in the order is a little concerning.
Move the guy with no slug to clean up.
Yeah, he's got no slug whatsoever so far this year. Campy's been fantastic. He's hitting 400.
But in the 4.
Yeah, I mean you could move him up, but like I said, go in just saying, well, what's your change? Is it the starting rotation? We'll take Waldron out of the starting rotation. You could do that. He's had one start. He's only impacted one of the 8 games you've played so far this season, so you can't put everything on one bad inning from Matt Waldron, giving up 3 in the first a couple days ago. It's just very hard to pinpoint, which is why I think when you say it's early, that's part of it. You need a little bit of time just to even evaluate your own team,
what you have,
before you can make any decisions you don't want to make a rash decision. And who was it a couple of years? Trace Thompson, he's not doing anything for us in 8 at-bats. Let's let him go to the Dodgers. He ends up having a really good season. You have to give everyone a little bit of time before you even know what you have and what you don't have. And 8 games isn't enough time to know if you have something good or if you have something bad, or you've got a mix of both and then you need to make some tweaks. It's just, in that sense, it's too early. It's not too early to be urgent and care about every game and try to win, but it is too early to make any meaningful evaluation of this baseball team at this point.
Yeah, sweeping changes, certainly. A lot of people are saying, what about Ha-Seong Kim at leadoff? Yeah, sure. Yeah, fine, whatever. I just think... I think at this point, maybe you asked what we can change. Maybe you could jigger the lineup a little bit and see what happens if Fernando can be kind of the spark plug. What did he say? He had some comment in the off season. He likes hitting first because he said something like
Schilt said he loves getting Fernando having a wild stallion right off the bat sort of thing. So he definitely liked that idea. But I think the lineup as it's been constructed so far is definitely, especially the top 5, it's not a bad way to go. And I'm curious to see if Mike Schilt makes a change. Today might be the day.
Yeah.
After 2 straight days of just 2 runs, if you were going to make a change, you might see something different, because I think literally the top 5 has been exactly the same every single game of the season so far, with no changes whatsoever. Bogaerts, Tatis, Cronenworth, Machado, Kim, same order, same positions, all 8 games. That's pretty rare in baseball nowadays. Lefty, righty on the bump, has not changed it a single time. Will that continue today, or will we see a different lineup in the day game? I would imagine Higashioka will be in there catching day after the night game. Campy's caught all but 1 game this season. Do you put Campy in? Do you give Manny a day off and put Campy in as a designated hitter? Something weird like that, or do you just keep rolling the same guys out there?
Yeah, Rafa says, didn't we complain about all the changes before? I didn't. I don't mind switching the lineup up. It's
a new game.
It's how baseball is now. Yeah. It just That's the way it goes. People are saying put Profar in leadoff. Yeah, I don't know, man. The 414 OBP, okay. You get pitched certainly differently if you're a leadoff hitter. Maybe you get more pitches to drive.
But do you want Jurickson to be getting 5 at-bats every game as opposed to
Tatis.
Xander, Tatis, or some of your top guys? That's part of the equation here as well.
Yeah, no question. No question. So, we'll see if he makes any changes today. But, yeah, you're right. When you go to the pen 4 times and Matsui delivers, and then last night he had an off night and it sucks and kind of took you out of that game. But again, you should never feel like you're out of a game, and I don't want that feeling to set in. If it's setting in with us, you don't want it to set in with the players. The Xander comments from last year of like, oh, we get down and it's over. Like I don't want to see that at all this year from these guys. Again, you can lose if you go down fighting and trying, okay, like I can deal with that. What I don't want to see is the slumped shoulders. We're sad. We're down 3 runs. We're done. That can't happen again.
I see a couple of fire AJ Prellers in the chat.
Yeah, I saw a couple of those.
That's a valid take. You are certainly allowed that opinion. That doesn't change how this year's Padres now perform.
No,
he's already put together the team, so that's not going to change what's going on right now. We're specifically talking about getting this team going in particular with the guys that are on the roster.
How to get the most out of this team.
That's a conversation to have at some point, whether AJ deserves another chance to put another team together, but he's already put this one together.
Yeah.
I mean, if you really think he's put together a terrible team and you don't want him making more trade deadline deals, that's an Eric Kutsenda decision at some point, but my guess is that AJ's here for the rest of the season.
Yeah,
and,
I would say so.
He'll sink or swim based on how this team does. But we're just asking the question, is there anything you want to do, need to do through 8 games about this team right now?
I mean, I do imagine that he's working the phones and trying to see what's out there. Again, I am surprised. I will be honest. I am surprised that something hasn't been done. I know it's only 8 games in, but there's still guys out there that could help this ball club today. So I'm curious if talks are ongoing, if conversations are being had. I tweeted it last night, a little bit tongue-in-cheek, but, Tommy Pham could be an injection of life into this team, but a lot of people want him, a lot of people don't.
Knowing the way we know AJ.
But are we so desperate for anyone that we're like, just bring in Pham?
Right. The way we know AJ Preller, though, you got to think Brandon Belt's agent, Tommy Pham's agent,
sure.
Like they're talking every day, right?
I would
at least just seeing if anything's changed, if there's still mutual interest.
Somebody says, if you get someone, who do you send down? Eggy Rosario, send him down.
Yeah,
right.
That leaves you without a right-handed option at third base.
We'll be fine. Manny will be back soon.
That's true.
Yeah. Ish, I hope.
That'll help once Manny, I think, he's playing the field every day.
Matthew says, yes, we are desperate. 100%. So, desperate times call for desperate measures. That's exactly right. Desperate. 8 games in.
If you're blaming Eggy Rosario for a slow start for the Padres
not.
This season, I think you're kind of missing the big picture here.
Yeah. No, I'm definitely not. I'm just saying if you're going to replace somebody, you can replace
And again,
them.
what I'm saying, it's early. I'm not telling you everything's going to be fine. There's a difference between it's early and be patient.
Yeah.
I'm not telling anyone to be patient. You don't have to be patient. Every game is important. When I say it's early, I'm just saying there's not enough data in yet to evaluate the baseball team. And anybody in baseball would tell you that.
If they made you make a decision based on 8 games, you'd go, well, Tyler Wade's my starting third baseman for the rest of the season. I don't think that's going to be the case.
Yeah, that would be unwise to make those decisions, good and bad, based on an 8-game sample size.
You think about it. You think about Manny getting back to third base. You think about how good Tyler Wade could be for this team off the bench. That seems to me like a valid bench piece, moving forward. And I think that's what he's here for. And when he's gotten his opportunities, he has delivered. I mean, in certain cases, you saw him get a little overmatched last night, but 99 is 99. It's tough to hit. Ryan Helsley's really good for a reason. So, I want to see today. Really, the most important part of today is Joe Musgrove. That for me, it starts and stops with Joe.
Agree
today.
Agree.
I mean, he needs to go out and dominate this team today and give this team 6 innings of really, really solid baseball. Don't let them get on the board early. And you need to. Who the hell's pitching for the Cardinals?
Thompson.
Zach Thompson.
Zach Thompson. Okay.
We'll take a timeout when we come back. So not only will we pay off Jesse's Incorporator, but I've got some analysis for you. I was actually texting with Jesse late last night about the Incorporator, and we're going to break it down a little bit more detail than we usually do with his television Incorporator moment last night during the game. That's coming up next.
It's a good chance for us too to talk about the umpire in the booth scene.
Sounds like the elephant in the room.
Yes,
umpire
in the booth. It kind of is, actually, yeah.
We've got an umpire in the booth, and we haven't talked about it yet. But we're going to have to address the umpire in the booth when we come back on 97.3 The Fan. back. If you want to keep listening to us even after you park the car, you can do so with the Odyssey app at Odyssey.com. Just download the app or visit Odyssey.com. Search 97.3 The Fan. Click on our show. Download the Odyssey app today to get started. As Woods mentioned, we have to address the umpire in the booth. Kind of like the elephant in the room last night on the Padres TV broadcast featuring Jesse Agler and Mark Grant. Had former MLB umpire San Diegan Mike Winters in the booth for what is expected to be a regular, like once per homestand booth invasion of the umpire. And we talked about a little bit yesterday that there's certainly a place for that sort of perspective in the game. The networks have used Gene Steratore and guys like that, I think, to great effect when a replay happens and get their perspective on. I always want to know, okay, I see what I'm seeing, but what is the guy who's actually been trained by the league for what they're looking for? What does he actually see there to give me some insight as to which way this call is going to go? I liked that idea. That was not, at least yesterday, how they used Mike Winters.
I was a little surprised when I found out that he was on the entire game. We had the first pitch, as you know. We were down there. I had the kids at Gallagher Square running around. Finally got home, was able to catch the last two innings on TV. And imagine my surprise. And the way I likened it was if we brought in a guest for 4 hours, and it was, name anybody. We had Katie Wu on for an hour yesterday. It was spectacular. But I don't know that 4 hours would have been easy to manage without some pretty serious planning of, this is what goes into it, So
I actually think having an umpire as part of the broadcast is really innovative.
It's a good idea
if done the right way.
Well,
not once a homestand. I think if they were to have it set up where he could be at home or in another studio, part of every game. So anytime there's a challenge or a questionable call, like in the NFL, they go to Gene Steratore or whatever. Gene Steratore is not in the booth with Jim Nance and Tony Romo.
Well, you feel
he's at home. They have the equipment, and he can chime in when called upon. If they were able to do that, I think that would be really cool for baseball.
When there's someone in here, you feel the need to say so, and you know what I mean? It's a natural inclination to try to bring them in. So I'm fine. I think it's a good idea to have them in there, but I also feel like, man, that may be overkill for a whole
and maybe
game.
It was a bit of a new toy sort of thing where you play with it more the first day and you're not going to use it quite as much going forward. And there was some good stuff. I loved when Mike Winters was talking about breaking up a conference at the mound. Oh, hey, Mike, I'm sure you've done this many times. What actually happens out there when the umpire goes to break up the pitching coach's conference at the mound? Do you say something? And he goes, no, I just walk out there, and my presence alone, my hovering over them tends to speed up the process. If I know the pitching coach and I know it's getting tight on time, I'll tap him on the leg with my mask, and basically that's the sign for that's it. But he also said, a couple of times I start walking out there and I hear their pitcher just getting absolutely reamed by the pitching coach for doing whatever he wasn't supposed to be doing, and I'll just kind of veer off a little bit so I don't walk right in the middle of that. I thought that was cool and good storytelling and good perspective, but I didn't need quite as many innings of it as we got in the game yesterday.
Yeah, I didn't think that you need the whole time. I just don't. I mean,
if he was able to pop in for 30 seconds at a time during a challenge or a questionable call, I think that can enhance the broadcast a little bit.
On the other hand, like when Mudd asked him, "Hey, you see that the umpire at third base? How are you supposed to get out of the way of the ball?" He goes, "Yeah, you just get out of the way. Just dodge it." Yeah, he jumped over it there. Yeah, exactly. You just get out of the way of the ball when it's coming your direction. That didn't add much for me. However, it did offer Jesse Agler the opportunity to work in his Incorporator word yesterday. Paulie, we got the setup from so yesterday's show. Jesse joins us on Tuesdays, gets our Incorporator word, and here's what he had yesterday. You ready for the Incorporator? Paulie, you going to play it for us?
Dewlap.
Easy.
D-E-W-L-A-P.
Dewlap.
A dewlap is a longitudinal flap of skin or similar flesh that hangs beneath the lower jaw or neck of many vertebrates, including lizards and cattle, or sometimes the vocal sac of a frog.
Or a radio host.
That little dangling piece of skin.
I call it the gullet.
Right under the wattle, but this case, it is known as a dewlap.
Dewlap.
That's great because,
I didn't know there was a word for that. Obviously there is, but I didn't know what it was. I like that.
Okay.
All right. So, come third inning yesterday, top of the third, and Mike Winters is in the booth, and they're yucking it up, and Jesse sees his opportunity, and he takes his opportunity. This was the Padres TV broadcast.
But you mentioned touching it. Every time the pitcher deflects the ball, it's going to be a crazy whacker play at first base. And so we see that and go, oh, here we go.
A whacker play?
Yeah, whacker.
Okay, so that's part of the umpire vernacular?
Yes. Yeah, that's what we got. Very close play as a whacker. Umpire lingo, 101.
Gotcha.
You don't want whackers. You don't want dewlaps. You don't want all these crazy moments. Ahead of Goldschmidt, nothing in 2.
So, context-wise, now whacker is something completely different.
Right. Contextually, that made no sense at all.
Still
but he got it in. He got it in. That's the rules of the game. You just have to get it in somewhere. And I was texting Jesse last night, and I said, there are different styles that Jesse uses in the Incorporator. And I told him, I said, that's what I call the piggyback.
Yes, the
Incorporator.
piggyback.
When you jump on a silly word or funny moment to sneak it in kind of unnoticed during the broadcast. And that was, he heard a funny word, they were laughing. Let's see if I can just sneak in dewlap. It was a crime of opportunity. I said, not necessarily the most spectacular way to get it in, but it's an effective method that Jesse uses. Now, the more common way Jesse gets it in, I said, is I call it the directed conversation, where Jesse builds up a scenario kind of for half an inning.
Love it.
In order to then unleash the Incorporator word in a fairly seamless way. Those are outstanding. Then there's the pure Incorporator, which is very rare, but like A+ level. When the word actually fits somewhere in the broadcast and somehow he gets it in organically and naturally, and like, yes, I didn't know what that word meant, but that was a perfect usage of the word. So there are multiple different ways, and Jesse said that's an incredible breakdown. We should have been tracking the different methods that Jesse has been using.
Now we can.
All this way. So this year we've got one. It was a piggyback Incorporator that Jesse used yesterday, jumping on mud and Mike Winters' silliness there in the top of the third. Dewlap. One down. About 37 more to go this season.
Oh, man.
All right, we'll come back. Bret Boone going to make one of his regular appearances with us. Host of the Bret Boone podcast, going to join us. He's got some Padres thoughts next with Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. All right, we're back. Continuing the discussion of the first pitch from yesterday. Had more during the break. Paulie is briefing our next guest on how the first pitch went. Never gonna live this down, even though, as we said, wasn't a bad pitch at all.
You did nothing wrong.
Thank you, Woodsy.
You're innocent.
It's so rare, but I love that you've got my back on this one.
Bro, are you kidding? I would call it. I call them as I see them. You're always going to get my authentic reaction. If you butchered it, I would have called you Benny the Butcher this morning. I absolutely would have.
You have credibility in that matter,
I absolutely would have.
I just talked to Bret Boone. We'll get to him after traffic. He asked, how did it go?
Yeah.
Because I wasn't worried about you and Woodsy. I was a little nervous about Ben. He hasn't seen it, I don't believe. And he goes, I've actually got a first pitch on Saturday.
Oh.
That I'm doing.
Well,
so
I'm not too worried about Bret. Actually, either, but we'll talk to him.
He's more pressure on him, by the way, than way more pressure than on us.
No, I mean, you want something to go viral. It's one thing for a rapper or an actress to throw a bad first pitch. You kind of understand it. Even a radio host, former big leaguer, throws a bad first pitch. That is everywhere.
So Boone's on hold so he can hear us. I just texted him the video if he wants to watch it during the traffic report.
All right, we'll get to traffic, and then Bret Boone of the Bret Boone podcast will join us coming up next here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Viejas Casino and Resort. Still a few problems here, guys. One of them is this crash on westbound 56 right around Carmel Valley Road. It's over to the right shoulder. South 5 coastline near Harbor Drive. We're getting reports of some construction debris across lanes. There's a pickup truck in the center divide, possibly related there. Westbound side of the 52 before Mast Boulevard, collision in the center divide. The daily jackpots at Viejas Casino and Resort are on fire. Players have hit huge wins with bets as low as 50 cents. Check out their jackpot winning smiles on the Viejas Facebook page. Want to join them? Who knows? The next jackpot winner could be you. Viejas Casino and Resort. I'm Kelly Danick, San Diego's country station, 103.7 KSON.
Oh, well, okay. Thank you, Kelly. Let's go to our hotline right now. We're joined by Odyssey MLB insider Bret Boone. Insider calls are presented by Grainger with supplies and solutions for every industry. Grainger has the right product for you. Call, click Grainger.com or just stop by. Bret is also the host of the Bret Boone podcast featuring the most notable names in MLB and around sports every week. He said one Tony Gwynn Jr. was the recent guest on the Bret Boone podcast as Bret joins us right now. Good morning, Bret.
Good morning, Ben. How you doing? All right.
I'm okay.
Oh, no.
It's very polarizing.
All right. So much to unpack.
Yes,
now,
all right.
I'm obsessed with first pitches because I heard you in the opening say, well, Boone's got the pressure. You know, it's easy for him, though. Okay. Let's go over that. I've got so much tendonitis in my elbow. There was a time, Ben, where I could stand anywhere on the field. You could blindfold me, and I could hit Johnny Olerud.
I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it.
I'm telling you, 2024, it's a different ballgame.
But no one knows that, Bret. No one knows.
I'm
They
a
think they're
word-
your
right.
old Bret Boone.
I know Woodsy, and I know how passionate he is about the game of baseball. I've seen him in fantasy camp up close and personal. And I know he grinds before that first pitch because there's no way he's not going to throw a good one. I'm the same way. I'm under the tunnel. I'm thinking, oh, don't pull it. Don't embarrass yourself. I saw you guys do the threesome. Threesomes are tough.
Threesomes are tough.
And especially those guys catching you, believe me how worried they are. They don't know where those balls are going. I've only done a twosome. I did it with Cameron. I was uncomfortable. They always talk about, oh, you got to go to the rubber.
Yeah.
I ain't going to the rubber. I'm going to the bottom of the mound.
Yep.
And I just want to get it over with. Last time I threw it hard. Usually I've been lobbing it lately. I threw it hard. There was some success. It was a little outside, but the guy caught it. But there's more to it than you think. I've been nervous. I've been a little bit nervous a few times in my life. But these first pitches, I grind on them. I mean, seriously.
It's
Friday
awful.
night, I'll be like, I'll play it cool, though. You know, I'll be suave. Hey, this is no big deal for me. But inside, I'm going, you better throw a strike. I understand the peril.
Peril is a really great word. I mean, we could not calm down. We couldn't calm down. Remember the scene in Vacation where Chevy Chase is at Christy Brinkley's in the pool. And he's taking all his clothes off, and he's at the edge of the pool, and he does this is crazy, this is crazy, this is crazy, and he smacks his hands together.
Right.
One of my buddy Corey was in the stands. He goes, "I just saw you doing the Chevy Chase arm swing before the game. This is crazy. This is crazy." And I go, "I was." I go, "It sounds about right." But yeah, we did grind on it, Booney.
And you guys both, you got your ball up, and mine was definitely down. Brett, you saw it. It was down.
Catchable.
But Ben, I saw your warming up video on I forget, I don't know.
That
if
was
it
horrible.
Twitter,
I know that was was
That's when I was a little worried for you.
That was the first time in 20 years I think I've thrown a baseball.
The pitch was fine. The pitch was fine, Ben.
Thank you.
If Woodsy or Pauly would have thrown it in the dirt, I'd give them a little crap because I know how serious they take this.
All right, the pitch was fine. Are the Padres fine? Here we go through just 8 games. Talking about hard to evaluate a team through 8 games, but also important for the Padres to get off to a good start. Haven't done that yet, but kind of everyone's contributed. Everyone's kind of had an off game here or there. What have you seen so far early in the season here for the Padres?
I think you're right when you say early. It is early. There's some positive signs. Campusano's off to a good start. Tyler Wade's done a good job until Machado gets back to third base. I think Tatis has got 3 jacks. Machado's got a couple. Bogarts, Cronenworth off to a good start. I think those are all positive signs. Yu Darvish, the elder statesman in that rotation, pitching well. He's got 3 starts already under his belt. I think he's throwing the ball well. Musgrove, he's having a little problem with his location, but he's Musgrove. This guy he's a bulldog, and he's just getting back into the swing of things. Musgrove's going to be fine. Dylan Cease came out, 6 punch outs in his first outing, solid outing. He's going to be a good acquisition to that starting rotation. And then Waldron and King I think is going to be a stud. He's just a guy that's really got to get settled in as a starting pitcher. He's done a lot of bullpen work. He started some for the Yankees. He's gone back and forth quite a bit. But I think these guys are just settling in. You got a new skipper. You got high expectations. The expectations were huge a year ago, but they're somewhat high. You know, guys like me looking at this team, this is a really good team. Got a really good bullpen. I love the addition of Peralta in the bullpen. Matsui hasn't given up a run yet.
He did last night.
Yeah,
last night was the first.
Oh, did he
the
give
first
one?
one? Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
first one.
We talked about that
He's
too.
Be solid.
We talked about that, Booney. Like the hardest for me. I can't even imagine what it's like trying to manage a big league game. It's hard enough in adult league. Hell, it's hard enough in T-ball. Really, like I can't imagine having to know what buttons to push and when. And I think one thing that everyone forgets is the game. It's such a slow game, such a languid game. No, it's not. It speeds up on you so fast. And I don't care if you're playing fantasy camp, adult league, pro ball, whatever. It speeds up on you so quickly, and everything starts rushing past you. And if you're Mike Schilt, you got to be thinking 3 innings ahead. And, guy gives up 5 knocks in a row, you better have somebody ready, and it better be the right guy. And you push the buttons early, and it works. And then, like last night with Matsui, it didn't. So no one can really, again, 8 games in, no one can really put their finger on, because we're hitting the ball harder than the other team. We're striking out less than the other team. We're hitting better with runners in scoring position, and we lose 5-2. It's just that stupid game that we all love.
Well, right. And it's baseball, and it's the first week. Like I said, a year ago, very disappointing. The guys in that clubhouse know how disappointing their year was a year ago.
Yep.
So they want to get off to the good start. Well, I look at this division. You played 2 against the Dodgers. You played 4 against the San Francisco Giants, who you split with. And by the way, Giants are good. They've got a really good rotation. They've made the most additions in the offseason that I think have helped their ball club. So it's not – now, bringing the St. Louis Cardinals, not the biggest team to not beat. So you lost first 2. It'd be nice to get one today.
Big time.
To get salvage one out of that series. But it's so early. I don't worry about that. I just look at this division. I mean, look, the Pittsburgh Pirates are 5-0. The Detroit Tigers are 4-0. The Milwaukee Brewers, who lost their big guy Burns and nobody has any expectations, Council goes to the Cubs. They're 4-0. So baseball, there's no rhyme or reason. Everybody will fall into where they're supposed to be as we get going. Middle of April, late in April, let's see where the Padres are at. But this is a really talented team, and I just think it's really important for Tatis Jr., He's at a point now. He's a young man, still a young man, but he's at a point to kind of be that point man. And as the team goes, Tatis goes. I think he's that type of talent. He's a generational talent. He's like the kid in center field for the Seattle Mariners, Julio Rodriguez. He's like an Acuna for the Atlanta Braves. He's kind of the leader of that team. Talk about all the other players, and a lot of great players. Machado, the veteran. But I think that team's going to go as Tatis goes. It's good to see him off to a good start. I always talk about that team. And the thing I worry about that I don't hear talked about too often with the Padres is you've got a lot of shortstops playing different positions. And everybody says the right thing when the camera's rolling. I'm doing what's best for the team. But believe me, as a middle infielder, there's a little ego that comes with being a middle infielder. A second baseman, especially a shortstop, because for me, that's the most talented defensive position on the field. And when you're asked to play a different position, and you've got a bunch of them playing different positions, yeah, they're going to say the right thing and say, hey, this is about winning ball games. But deep down, you're a little like, wait a minute. I add a lot to the middle. Why aren't I not playing the middle? You got a young Cronenworth playing first base. Does he feel I got to hit more because I'm playing first? You sign Bogarts to come over here and be your shortstop for a big deal. All of a sudden, you're asked to play second. Tatis going to right field. Yeah, he won that platinum glove, and that eases a little bit. But believe me, Tatis is a young enough man to think, damn it, I'm a shortstop, but I'm playing right field. So I worry about that a little bit as they mature and they get a little more time under their belt and more experience. That tends to go away, and it really is a team thing. But early on, and I don't fault them for this because I remember as a young player, it means something. Like, hey, I'm really good at this position. Don't move me. You know? And it can be something, a small thing, but handled correctly by the skipper, which is Schilt. You can navigate. And I'll tell you what takes care of all this and all the sideshows and the mental side, winning ball games. You win ball games, it seems like everybody comes together.
100%.
Talking to Bret Boone here on Ben and Woods. Insider calls are brought to you by Grainger. For the ones who get it done, Grainger offers professional-grade supplies and solutions made for every industry, backed by product experts. Call, clickgrainger.com, or just stop by. You mentioned Mike Schilt, how he's handling this team. And the transition does seem to have been pretty smooth from Bob Melvin through spring training, lots of positive comments. What is that like for a player, though, playing for a new manager? Do you have to tailor things differently, do things differently when your skipper has changed, or are you just you're the guy and you just go out and you do your work no matter who the manager is?
I've had great transitions from manager to manager, and I've had some really rough ones where it really affected the team. It's all up to that manager, how he comes in, the precedent he sets, what he expects. Guys, big league players don't like to be treated like kids and having to do this and having to do that. I remember that famous in 2001 where Brenly came into the Diamondbacks. They ended up winning the World Series after a Buck Showalter, who was kind of rules-oriented at that time of his career. Brenly said, I expect you to show up and bust your butt. And that was it. He treated them like men. They loosened up, and they went and they played. It's all about the tone they set. I had a guy in Cincinnati, and this is Jack McKeon, who's managed 100 years in the big leagues. But at the time, he was in our front office in Cincinnati. He came down onto the field, and he really brought a calm to that clubhouse that was kind of chaotic that particular year. I forgot what it was. I think it was 97, 98. He really brought a calm to that room. And guys wanted to play for him. When you find a guy that you respect and you come to the ballpark and you want to play, that's when you found a good skipper. The skipper can only do so much, and I talk about that all the time. All they can do is prepare, put their players in the best position they know how to succeed. And once the national anthem's over, there's only so many things a skipper can do. Yeah, I can get the righty up, I can get the lefty up, play the X's and O's. Yeah, today you can do it on a computer. But it's managing people. And I think so far, and everything I've heard about Mike Schilt behind the scenes has been positive.
Well, Boone, always appreciate your perspective, and look forward to our next conversation coming up soon. But thank you for your time today.
You got it. Thanks, guys.
Appreciate you.
Good first pitch. Be pulling for me.
Good luck on yours, buddy.
Bret Boone would know, and we're definitely pulling for him as well. That was Odyssey MLB insider Bret Boone. Again, Insider Calls presented by Grainger. With supplies and solutions for every industry, Grainger has the right product for you. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. He talked about the shortstop thing, and we've obviously discussed it in depth. I will say that Tatis made the adjustment very well. Jackson Merrill is almost like stunning in
I
how
was just going to
quickly
bring him up. When Booney said that, I thought to myself, I almost forgot he was an infielder
comfortable
like 6
he
months
looks
ago.
out there. Yeah, Jake is playing great first base this year. Yesterday had a couple of sensational plays, picking the ball really well. And Xander looks more comfortable at second than he did. Is it possibly, we talked about Xander earlier, not the fastest of starts. We haven't seen much slug. Xander's dealing with the biggest change probably of all right now. Merrill maybe, but Merrill's got a lot of things he's dealing with. Xander has been at shortstop longer than any of them and is being asked to play a new position right now.
Yeah.
And we're 8 games in. I'm going to give him some time to adjust, but he made a couple nice plays already. Diving stops. I mean, he's looking more comfortable there. They've all, to a more or less extent, done a really nice job of doing what I think A.J. Preller was hoping, and that is translating their athleticism to any part of the diamond that they've been asked to go play.
Yeah, it's not something that you see a lot of teams do, and certainly we always talk about them, but nobody really does it better than the LA Dodgers, and they get buy-in. They get buy-in. Guys will play first, they'll play third, they'll play left, they'll play right, they'll play second, they'll play short, they'll move back to second.
They're the other way. They have no shortstops.
They have no shortstops.
Trying to get people to play shortstop.
And listen, it's not how I would draft. I would get a first baseman that plays first base. I would get a second, but that's they're doing a little bit differently, and certainly if it does work and guys remain as athletic as they have been, listen, like you said, winning cures everything. Xander's not going to be as bummed about moving to second if they're winning baseball games, just like Tatis isn't going to be as bummed about not playing short if they're winning games. That's what they genuinely really care about.
And I don't think the position change has done too much to hurt Mookie Betts at the plate so far.
Well, now they've moved him back to second, and he continues to rake.
He's hitting 500 with a 1772 OPS. I think he had a 6th home run last night.
Good.
He's not just MVP.
Where does he hit? He hits leadoff.
He hits leadoff. Yeah, doing that all from the leadoff spot. Now he has 6 home runs and like 12 RBIs, so they're not necessarily maximizing the runs batted in by putting him there, but
they don't have to. They have Freddie Freeman and Shohei Ohtani and Teoscar Hernandez and Will Smith and Max Muncy.
Yeah, they won again last night. Yeah. We can go through some of the other games. Paulie's got some breaking NFL news in the Reindl Report as well. All coming up next year on 97.3 The Fan. Got to start our final hour with a correction. I said Mookie has hit 6 home runs. He has only hit 5, which means he's only on pace for 102 home runs this year, not 122 home runs. 97.3 The Fan regrets the error. We can move on. We got some Eric Clapton tickets to give away this hour. Dodgers did win yesterday, 5-4, holding on against the San Francisco Giants. Dodgers are 6-2. Giants are 2-4. So not the start they were envisioning either. They're in 4th place in the NL West behind the Padres. Rockies are absolutely brutal. I know they have a win, and there are still some teams that don't, but they lost to the Cubs 12-2. And they've been outscored by 33 runs already this season. It is an absolutely horrific-looking start for the Colorado Rockies at the bottom of the division. So I don't see them necessarily turning it around, but no one could play as bad as they've played all season long like that. I would hope not.
Better beat those guys when you play them, man. That's like my World Series. Those games against the Rockies, like no messing around whatsoever.
The Brewers remain unbeaten, as do the Pirates. Right, you got 2 unbeatens in the National League, both in the NL Central. Every team in the NL Central has a 500 record or better right now. Brewers beat the Twins 3-2 yesterday, and the Yankees finally lost. The Diamondbacks got them 7-0 behind Zach Gallen's 6 shutout innings, handing the Pinstripes their first loss. And still looking for their first win, unfortunately. Skip Schumacher's Miami Marlins, who fell again to the Los Angeles Angels 3-1 as they drop to 0-6.
You know he's losing it right now. He's pretty calm
on the
guy,
season,
but wonder when the table gets flipped soon. That's probably time. 0-6.
Yeah, it's
time to get in some.
It's a rough start.
Get your ass together, guys.
Get your ass together. Yeah,
that Manager of the Year trophy winking at you from the mantle over there.
Yeah.
When you're 0-6.
Yeah,
can't feel great at the moment. Hi, Skip.
Hi, Skip.
Good morning.
We love
to you. Let's get some wins going over there. All right, Paulie, you got some headlines for us? Time for the Reindl Report.
Let's do it.
And get things started here with our today's edition of the Reindl Report.
Now tuned into the greatest.
Welcome to the Reindl Report with Paul Reindl.
Hi, Paul.
All right.
2 stories from the world of sports that we haven't gotten to yet.
We'll start off in Major League Baseball.
And 1 story that you didn't know you needed.
Are you laughing, biatch?
It's the Reindl Report.
Hey, Paul, how you doing?
Okay, how are you?
On 97.3 The Fan.
Are you ready to bless the mood? I need some help, please.
That was good.
Can I get a yeah? Oh, yeah.
All right.
There's those boys.
There they are. Superstars.
All right, gentlemen, some big news in the NFL this morning as it is being reported that the Bills are finalizing a deal to trade wide receiver Stephon Diggs to the Houston Texans for draft pick compensation. They're going to receive, Buffalo will receive a 2025 second-round pick coming from the Vikings in exchange for Diggs, and a 2024 6th-round pick and a 2025 5th-round pick. So a lot of draft picks being moved around, but Stephon Diggs to the Texans, and Adam Schefter pointed out that yesterday on social media, Stephon Diggs. So on X, Robert Griffin III tweeted out recently. He said, "Is Stephon Diggs essential to Josh Allen's success? He has been since he got to Buffalo in 2020. They're better together, and if Stephon Diggs and Allen can stay together with the Bills this year, their championship window is wide open." And somebody says, "Does Josh benefit from having a top-tier receiver? Yes. Is he essential to his success? No." Stephon Diggs replied to that and said, "You sure?" Question mark.
Woo.
Well, but I think that's also part of the reason why the Bills were willing to part with Stephon Diggs. He's a great receiver, but he's a lot to deal with. Just feels like, from a team standpoint, he's always complaining about not getting the ball, and he's on social media all the time.
By the way, that's not uncommon
It's
at all
not.
for the greatest of wide receivers in
I
history.
Agreed. And, you know, if he connects with C.J. Stroud early, Texans going for it here. But I just, at some point, I feel like things were starting to wear a little thin in Buffalo with Stephon Diggs.
Many of you who have been listening to this program a long time know our beloved former assistant producer, Hammer, Alex Perlin, is a psychotic Houston Texans fan. I texted him just now. I said, Diggs. He goes, "We are next, bro." That's just in all caps. He is so fired up. Their turnaround has been really, really spectacular, Ben. So that'll be fun to watch. And you do wonder, how do you replace that production in Buffalo? And I know Josh Allen, even if you have semi-beef or whatever, and I don't think there was ever really beef. It was just kind of like trying to make him happy. You got to be bummed losing a talent of his magnitude. So see how that one shakes out. But that was big news this morning. I was taken aback a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, there's some good receivers available in the draft this month. Now they're not going to get like Marvin Harrison Jr. where they're picking, but I think there are some good options. And if you pick well, like the Texans did with C.J. Stroud, you can turn things around pretty quickly. It's the NFL. A good draft goes a long way to addressing some needs and filling some holes on your roster.
Yeah, all about filling holes, right?
Yep, fill the holes.
All right.
Guys, holes are holes.
Yesterday morning, we talked about how all three of us were actually pretty excited to watch LSU and Iowa on Tuesday afternoon before the Padres game, and it was a pretty good game. We were very entertained. Iowa ran away with it at the end.
Yep.
I was reading on Front Office Sports. They've got the numbers. The numbers are in. We weren't the only ones excited for this one. Iowa LSU's average of 12.3 million viewers was more than every women's college basketball game ever.
Wow.
Every ESPN college basketball game ever. Every MLB game last season. Every NHL game last season. Every MLS game last season. Every NBA game last season except for one. And every college football regular season game except for one.
Jeez.
There were a lot of eyeballs on that game. And you credit people like Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese.
Ben's favorite, Kim Mulkey.
So I don't know if anybody is actually tuning in for her, but
I was watching to see if she melted down and how she handled herself.
So I saw that before that game, the most watched women's basketball game in history was the 1983 championship between USC and Louisiana Tech. The great Cheryl Miller going up against Louisiana Tech star Kim Mulkey in that game.
Wow.
So yeah, I don't know now. Is it just the most watched women's basketball game ever? I can't imagine a WNBA game has ever outdrawn that. Like an Olympic gold medal game at some point. I have no idea, but it seems like this is probably, most watched women's basketball game in history.
Yeah.
And it was a good game.
It was.
I mean,
really good
if
game.
they were hoping to put on a good show, they absolutely did.
That was the most frenetic pace I've ever seen in a basketball game.
Exhausting.
It was frenetic.
It was wild.
They said they need to walk the ball up the court just one time. I'm like, oh my God, they are just getting after it, man.
All right. Might make some people uncomfortable here with this last story.
I like being uncomfortable.
But it is, got an update here. So I think we've talked about this in the past. Have you ever used the incognito pages on your browser, your web browser?
Never.
Maybe for...
Never.
You would know if we did, because we go, Paul, can you set up an incognito page on our browser for
Paulie,
us?
how do I use the incognito tab?
Paulie, I'd like to watch. How do I do this?
So it's on your phone. I've seen it.
It hides it from your search history, basically.
But you can go delete your search history, right?
You could.
Yeah.
can.
So that's the same thing. I've done that. That I have done.
See, if you just use incognito, you wouldn't have to do that.
Ever.
Seems
much easier.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you not get targeted ads if you use the incognito either, because they don't know what you've been?
I don't know how that works.
Like looking for.
Nor do I.
I really don't know. Now,
who is it? So it's it. Who?
Like if your wife or if anybody's wife were to go through their search history,
husband,
if you're going through somebody's search history on their phone browser, and they've been using incognito, you wouldn't find anything that you were looking for.
Interesting.
However, my guess is there are people out there that are naive enough to think that, because it's incognito,
no one knows.
There's no search history. No, it's just that you can't
see it.
You can't take somebody's phone and find their search history through incognito. But it all
like
exists
if you type the letter P
somewhere.
in Woods' browser, what starts popping up?
Padres.
P-O.
Get it.
Oh,
police.
What if you typed in on Woods' browser P-O-R? Then what would pop up?
Well,
Pork.
Pork.
Pork
That's what
chops.
pops up on mine for sure.
Searching a lot of pork chops.
Bad.
So,
best pork chop in town.
Of course, while it may not be in your immediate browser history, that stuff lives somewhere.
course.
Your search history lives somewhere. I go back to that.
On the dark web, whatever that is.
He's not a good guy, but Chris D'Elia, remember the video when he was talking about being on Snapchat? He goes, well, it all goes away. And they're like, no, dude, it doesn't.
It doesn't.
Like, you see
You
the
see the-
soul
you see his soul leave
his
his body.
because of the horrible things that he was using that app for.
There's forensic
It all
people
exists.
at the FBI. They can find it.
I
if
don't
they
even
wanted
think
to.
you have to be at the FBI, my friend.
No.
All right,
So anybody
what
that has
happened?
been using Google Chrome and using the incognito page to search up something that they probably shouldn't have
Okay.
been, that all has existed somewhere, and Google has actually been being sued because of that, because it's kind of like a false advertising. And this lawsuit actually was filed back in 2020, and it was accusing Google of misrepresenting the type of data that it collects in their incognito browsers. And like people that were suing Google, they wanted $5 billion in damages. They didn't get that, but Google did announce just this week that they are going to delete billions of data records from the incognito files,
start using that.
and they're going to no longer be tracking that stuff.
So,
moving
true story.
forward.
I get a phone call the other day from one of my beloved friends back in Texas. Heard about what's going on in Texas.
I've heard about this.
Blocked. Can't go to the...
Is it blocked, or you have to sign up and prove that you're of age?
He the first two that he logged onto were blocked, and he's more technologically moronic than I am. And he's like, I don't know what to do. And I was like, well, you got to do something. He's like, yeah, I'm not about to go out buying DVDs and stuff again. Where do I hide those? I go, it's a whole process here. He goes, yeah, I had it pretty dialed. We all did. But I was just surprised that they actually said, no, we're not. You can't use your phone for that anymore. Crazy. Blocked.
Says Google is updating its disclosure forms, allowing people to block third-party cookies in incognito mode for the next 5 years. They also won't track how often you switch from regular to incognito mode. Maybe once or twice or even 3 times a day. I don't know.
We should do phone history roulette in here one day.
Now, I love this in the chat. Elisa,
terrifying.
Elisa says in the chat, who filed this lawsuit? Check their history
Yes.
ASAP. Yes, if you're willing to sue Google because you're so concerned about your incognito history going out or being public knowledge at all, that might be the biggest creep in the world. The guy that filed that lawsuit.
Yeah,
but
fair enough.
It worked, I guess.
Ben, you're very quiet.
I just don't have a ton to say about this.
You don't want to incriminate yourself. I got you.
That's true. Plead the fifth.
Fair enough. That's the Reindl Report. Good job, Paulie. Padres made a move yesterday. Roster move. We haven't discussed that. We'll get to that. We also have some Eric Clapton tickets to give away coming to San Diego later this year. It is all going to come up in our next segment. Do not go away. Back after a check of traffic with Kelly Danick, Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan. Oh, I'm going to just fully disclose. I had forgotten entirely about Jackson Wolf until yesterday when the Padres acquired Jackson Wolf. Does anybody remember Jackson Wolf?
He was did we trade him to the Pirates?
We did.
Was that it?
He pitched like one game, I think.
He came up. He was an emergency starter, 5 innings, 3 runs.
Yeah.
I remember getting excited like that. Like
it's what we do.
At the end, oh, wait, Jackson Wolf, this could be an up-and-comer. And then AJ trades him away, and you never think about him again.
He was in the Rich Hill G-Man Choi deal.
He did a spot start. We needed a guy, and he came up, and then he was gone the next
Here's
day.
the write-up on him.
This was last year, wasn't it?
Yeah, this was last year.
Totally forgot about it.
8 months ago. Here's the write-up on him from MLB Trade Rumors. Yeah, he did. Let's see. What's the word lupine mean?
It means wolf-like.
Oh, very good. The Padres selected the lupine lefty in the 4th round of the 2021 draft. He was sent to the Bucks. That sent Rich Hill and G-Man Choi to San Diego. His numbers after changing organizations were not as impressive. He made 8 AA starts after the deal with a 4.25 ERA, 19.9% strikeout rate, 6.6% walk rate. Perhaps he was surpassed on the Pirates' depth chart by guys like Paul Skeens and Jared Jones, 2 of the biggest studs in minor league baseball right now. I think Jared's in the big leagues. The Bucks needed 3 opening day roster spots for Ryder, Ryan, and Jones, and Hunter Stratton, and Wolf was one of the casualties. So Padres will send back Kervin Pichardo going the other way.
Kevin, isn't it?
It says Kervin.
I thought it was Kevin.
This says Kervin.
Kervin Pichardo. Well, people are throwing in extra letters and names.
They are.
All the time now with
Kervin.
millennials. All right,
Maybe
Kervin.
the R is silent.
I had always thought that was Kevin. I had heard that name before, and I guess I just assumed. Sometimes you read what you want to read.
Yeah, you read what you
typo,
wanna-
whatever. No, it's
People
not
hear
Kervin,
what they
it's
want to
Kevin,
hear.
right?
Yeah.
Speaking of Padres in the minor league, so Wolf is going to AAA. Will fill out the El Paso roster. Their season's already underway. Padres did announce some of their minor leagues. I saw yesterday that Leonardo De Vries is going to Dallas De Vries is going to stay in Arizona at extended spring training and continue to work there. I don't think that's any reason for concern. He's so young that really anything he does right now in the organization, anytime he's putting in with coaches, is good for development, and he will land somewhere and play this year. But there's no ticking time, clock on when he's got to get to the big leagues or got to get to low single A or anywhere to play in the organized ball. They can be patient and see what they've got. I know they're very high on DeVries, though, and like what they have seen so far. So, but again, he just signed and still very, very young. So they're kind of figuring out where to put everybody right now and assigning them to the different levels of the minor league organization, which I believe the rest of the minor leagues start this Friday.
Yeah, we're going to catch up with our pal Kevin Charity from Mad Friars, I think, next Friday after a few games under the belt. I want to ask him to. We talked to Katie Wu yesterday about the Cardinals and their depth, I guess, or lack thereof in the minor leagues. And you do feel with guys like Randy Vasquez, a couple other guys that are if somebody goes down or is ineffective at this level, you do finally feel a little bit of a breath. But what's after those guys? Who are the next crop coming?
Next wave.
What's the next wave? And find out a little bit more about the depth. Also, it's interesting. We talked this week, Ben, about the numbers at El Paso for guys like Brett Sullivan and guys. I think Austin Hedges hit about 400 when he was down there, and we know how that translated to the big leagues. Not great. How do you? How do you? Like, what do you do? How do you judge your pitching? How do you judge your hitting?
You're seeing less players in El Paso where the Padres don't have a fully formed opinion. I mean, the roster right now, like Adrian Morejon pitched last night, 2 runs, 2 hits, 2 strikeouts, 2 innings of relief. Vasquez pitched 3 innings, 2 runs, 4 hits. I think they already kind of know what those guys, they've seen them on the big league level, so they just need to keep getting work.
Just reps.
And be ready and have reps, and the results don't matter. Same with offensive players like Brett Sullivan and Oscar Mercado and Matt Batten. They've all been in the big leagues, and they kind of know what they're working with, so they're just there to get reps and play AAA. The guys who are really developing, that's why they're sending them to AA and high single A. It's a much more representative environment in those leagues as opposed to the high-altitude environments of AAA Pacific Coast League. So, yeah, you don't really put your top prospects anymore at the AAA level if you're a West Coast team. It just doesn't make a lot of sense right now.
Yeah, I mean, it just can crush a pitcher. I mean, just can crush you. When you're down there, if you're giving up 6-7 runs. But yeah, and as far as hitting goes, you look at it and go, wow. I mean, this clearly will translate to the big leagues, and so rarely does it for our beloved San Diego Padres.
Speaking of that, was next Friday. We're going to talk to Kevin Charity, maybe, but this Friday. Can we do a little tease for later in the week?
I'm excited.
I just found out about this. You guys told me that we're going to have a special in-studio guest for the second time joining us in studio here.
Third or fourth.
And third or fourth
time.
overall.
Overall, yeah.
Jay Moore is going to be back in studio.
Can't wait for Jay Moore. Now, the
Jay Moore, man.
big question is, how do you ask him to do his Christopher Walken again? Now, there'll be people listening for the first time, maybe, that haven't heard his brilliant Christopher Walken. And I was laying there last night when we got the confirmation going, I can't ask him to do it again.
On that cast was Christopher Walken.
A banger, as the kids would say.
I mean, it's just
What's up with your Padres?
brilliant.
I think you ask him because now his bit is so iconic. They're doing it in Super Bowl commercials with Christopher Walken. So you can get him to address that, and he'll, of course, just slip into the voice as he always does.
He's so good.
Yeah, I mean, there's more to him than just the Christopher Walken voice.
I was thinking about
it's
it.
always so delightful.
I was thinking about it the other day. That's Bob Sugar. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know that I've ever asked him about that role of playing Bob Sugar and Jerry Maguire, which is a classic.
Nope.
And he was brilliant in it.
Good.
He's brilliant.
It's like a villain, but not
He's
a villain. But he's
smarmy. He's a smarmy
little
agent.
Yeah.
And just the backstabbing, just terrible, terrible human. But he played it so well. He is sober now. He is married to Jeannie Buss. Ben is very excited to talk Lakers basketball with him. And I thought maybe he doesn't want to talk shop.
Is that shop for him?
I think so.
Lakers basketball shop?
Yeah.
I think comedy is shop.
He's not in
talking
town
shop.
to
talk about the
spread
pick and roll.
the news of the Lakers and all of that. Their off season.
No, I'm
Like,
curious.
He's here for a
though,
comedy
being
show. Let's be
married to
funny.
Jeannie Buss
is awesome. That's all you need to know. It's
but
incredible.
how well does he know LeBron? Is he friends with LeBron
Yes.
James? Like
100%.
pretty tight friends with LeBron. What's it like being friends with LeBron James?
Okay, now that's the question. What I didn't want to hear is like, hey, they look good, and we
No. I want to know the behind the scenes
Okay.
stuff. That's
All
I'm
right.
just curious about that.
Okay.
Because I knew all the Lakers behind the scenes back in the day, but I don't know them now. I don't know LeBron. I don't know AD.
You have no pull with the Lakers
None.
anymore.
None. Zero.
What if you called them and said
They wouldn't know me from anybody, I don't think. At
they
this
know your
point.
grandfather,
Yeah.
though?
But yeah, that's been 30 years since he's been with them. So
When has that ever stopped you from like calling in a favor, though?
I don't think I have any favors to call in.
Trying to get a freebie. When's the last time you went to a Lakers game?
15 years, maybe.
Is that right?
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Okay. All right.
It's a big pain.
I've never been.
You got to go up to downtown Los
Built differently,
Angeles.
I guess.
It's a pain in the
Yeah,
it's a
I
pain in
wouldn't-
the rear end. It's been a while.
I wouldn't go, but that's just me.
Yeah.
If I did, I wouldn't tell anybody. My son really loves basketball.
Braun
now.
is overrated, says Diesel. That's it.
Don't start this.
That's
It's too. We're in baseball season. We're not going to do Braun is overrated. Braun versus MJ is a hot dog, a sandwich. How do you put the toilet paper on?
We're literally
We'll leave that.
in like the last 5 games of the NBA season, getting ready for the playoffs.
Is that right?
Yes.
At the play-in tournament.
It's like 2 weeks.
Okay. Excited. I'll
But
probably watch.
I don't need to talk basketball, but don't give me the argument. We're in.
God. Oh,
hey,
no.
it's
Oh, no.
basketball's
Oh, no.
off season.
Oh,
We're in
no.
the middle of
Oh,
baseball
no.
season.
Oh, no.
No, actually, it's the playoff times coming up.
Oh no. Oh no.
In basketball, baseball will be here for the next 7 months. I promise you.
Oh, you're mad at me, not him. I thought you were mad at him.
No, I'm mad at you.
All right.
I'm mad at you.
Okay.
You can't just say, you can't
I
dismiss
can.
basketball at this point.
You can't.
You can dismiss basketball.
Everybody
in
else does.
November and December and January. No, they don't.
Yeah.
Not in April. This is actually when you want to start watching basketball. I give you a pass. I don't care that you don't watch basketball November through now. But once the playoffs start, you should watch a little bit of basketball.
Right.
You get everyone plays. They try really hard at this point.
Okay.
Even the Lakers are trying hard right now, which they never do during the regular season, but they've won like 8 of their last 9.
See, now this is the problem. It spirals
Look what you
into.
did.
That spirals into.
He's going to ask him,
Lakers
so are you friends
updates.
with LeBron? And then it's going to turn into
Yeah.
all of this.
Yeah.
Why don't you just take Friday off?
To get Shams on the show for us, we'll get some insider basketball talk.
I may be out soon, so you can basketball it up. Basketball Ben.
Adam says, not our Adam in the chat, the NBA is terrible. A lot of the regular season is kind of
Yeah,
terrible in
it's
the
tough.
NBA. I like the baseball season Way more. The regular season, way more than the regular season. But the NBA playoffs are pretty cool. It's like the NCAA tournament, but every night with series that go on, with rivalries that develop over a few years.
I know how series work.
You play 7 games, and whoever wins 4 first advances. It's terrific. It's very similar.
I know how the playoffs work.
It's very similar to the baseball postseason, actually.
Good Lord. All right, I got to pee.
All right, we got to give away some tickets. This is your opportunity. Eric Clapton coming to Pechanga Arena later this year. That would be on
October 8th.
October 8th. Thank you, Paulie. Tickets go on sale this Friday at 10 a.m. at AXS.com, but you can win them right now. Take the fourth caller, 833-288-0973. Fourth caller at 833-288-0973 wins the tickets to Eric Clapton at Pechanga Arena on October 8th. All right, timeout. Last segment, we will talk about today's matchup. We got day baseball at Petco Park, and then Annie and Elston on their way at the top of the hour with Ben Woods on 97.3 The Fan. Be right back. It would be very nice if the Padres could get the win today, avoid the sweep, not have a whole off day tomorrow that we've got to sit through and wait for an opportunity to snap a 3-game losing streak on Friday. So just for our sanity in the fan base, this would be a really good one to win today. We'll talk about the matchup this afternoon at Petco Park, coming up after our last check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
A couple of problems wrapping up our morning drive. Traveling on the westbound 54, right at the south 805 connector ramp. We have reports of some sort of debris in lanes. Also on the northbound 805 before Balboa, there's a collision involving several vehicles. They're all in the center divide. In the North County, got a stalled motorcycle northbound 15 before West Bernardo. It's in the center divide. And westbound side of the 78 on your way to the 15, just past Broadway. Watch out for a ladder in the left lane. Grrr. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Wood, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
What? All right, save that.
She doing things on purpose?
Just
she knows she's won the tournament of drops once. She wants to get as many entries as possible.
She's already got like 3 for next year.
Increase her chances of defending her title.
Our beloved Kelly Danick, she texted me this morning. She goes, "Hey, is it okay? Will you be around between 9:45 and 10:15?" Well, yeah, we're on the air until 10. She goes, "I was going to swing by the studio to pick up my championship ring."
Yeah. Paulie brought in the ring for Kelly. This hour, 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app. Cash in on basketball's big moments with Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app. Use code KWFN for a first deposit match of up to $100. Prize Picks. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. Congratulations to Ethan, who won the Clapton tickets. We've got 2 more days of those to give away coming up. And as I said, would love to see a win today. We've got a 1:10 first pitch and a 12:10 Eco Water SoCal pregame show with Sam Levitt coming up in just a couple of hours now, with Joe Musgrove making his 3rd start of the year. The first 2 have not gone great. Okay, they actually were pretty bad for Joe's standards.
Yep.
However, in his last outing on Friday, he did recover after the bad first inning and looked like he was getting settled and locked in. Pitched into the 6th, I believe.
Yeah, 5 2/3, I think. Yeah.
Can we take something away from that, build on that, and expect to see a more Joe Musgrove-like performance today against the St. Louis Cardinals?
It's absolutely necessary. It's absolutely necessary today to throw up a clean first inning, I think, for Joe Musgrove. And if he can do that, sky's the limit for him to build off of.
And just break it down. Like, let's get through that first.
Get to that first inning bugaboo. If you're giving up runs constantly, it just kills you. And again, it is a bit deflating for the offense to be like, It's why playing on the road is great. You get to hit first. You can set the tone. It's fantastic. Joe Musgrove has faced the Cardinals a ton in his career, Benny, but, obviously a different team. Petco Park, he's 1-0 in 2 starts against St. Louis through 5 innings with 1 earned run, once in 21, once in 22. And Zach Thompson faced the Padres last August, allowed 2 earned runs in 4 innings. He's 26 years old. He's a left-handed pitcher, former first-rounder. So he is 0-1 this year with an 8.44 ERA.
Gave up 5 to the Dodgers in his first outing.
Yep.
I mean, so Miles Michaelis also didn't look great against the Dodgers.
Looked great better last night
against the Padres last night, so you can't take much out of that. He's Thompson's more of a converted reliever type. Has made many more appearances out of the bullpen than starting, but they kind of converted him a little bit last year and now have him in their starting rotation to start the season this year.
Surprised we haven't seen a lineup yet? It's usually around now, yeah?
It should be sometime soon with a 110.
I just checked.
The question would be, are there going to be any changes other than the expected ones? I would think that Kyle Higashioka will get the start behind the plate. Day game after a night game. Campy's caught 7 of the 8 games this season. You have to, as much as you'd like to keep his bat in the lineup, as hot as he's been, can't wear out your catcher before the first week of April is complete. So you have to use your backup catcher. You have to get Higgy going a little bit, give him some opportunities in the lineup. So I expect Higashioka. The question is, will there be any movement in that top 5? Will Xander Bogaerts still be leading off? Woodsy suggested maybe Fernando Tatis Jr. in the leadoff spot just to shake things up a little bit, something that Mike Schilt did talk about during spring training and liked as a concept at least, but has not tried it yet in the regular season.
Yeah, they've been having a tough time kind of stringing things together, so might be a good day for a change. Do you foresee, Ben, maybe Merrill getting a sit today in favor of Azoka?
Why can you not just keep talking?
Because I asked him a question.
I'm listening to you, but I'm also asking Paulie to set up some audio. This is Radio 101. I can only talk to Paulie while you're speaking, so you have to. Okay, you were talking about Jose Azocar.
What are you having for lunch today?
For a guy
What are you
who
gonna grab?
I love you,
I was thinking a sandwich.
it's not what we're talking about.
Taylor.
I am asking him to set up some.
Do I have any production?
No, that's not what I'm.
Who's doing the promo today? It's nice out. I do have to get an oil.
All right, you want to do this? You want to have the fight on the air right now?
I will get the oil change.
You're the person who cares the most about the on-air product.
Correct.
It's like you're passionate about the radio. I am trying to make the on-air product. Text him. He's right next to me.
Text him.
I don't know that he's got his phone
But then
out.
he's looking down and he's still not engaging with
You're
you.
still
He does that
mad
anyway.
at me for texting.
Text him.
I can whisper him while you're talking, and this is how it works.
Text it.
And all you need to do is continue to talk and carry on your train of thought.
I
know
asked you a question.
You hadn't stopped. You were still talking.
I hate this.
Oh my God.
Do the show.
You do the show. That's what I
Do the
want you
show.
to do. I want you to do the show.
I defended his pitch. You did bounce that pitch, by the way. That pitch was bounced. You spiked it. That pitch was an MFing spike.
What was your Azocar question?
I don't know. I
Some
don't even remember.
pointless Azocar question over there?
I don't remember.
Bret Boone was high on Jose Azocar, or maybe Adam Jones was high on Jose Azocar. Has Jose Azocar done anything this year so far? I can't even remember.
Not really. Not really.
Maybe he gets a start. Maybe he doesn't. I don't know. I don't want to take Jackson Merrill out of the line.
I don't either. And I want to make sure that he knows. I want to make sure that he knows, hey, just because it's a left-hander doesn't mean we're going to sit you. So I'm interested to see what happens.
Exactly. You don't want to establish platoon just in his bio right now.
Yeah. Hey.
I don't have it saved.
You don't have it. So you couldn't find that audio? Okay, fine.
The Mike Schilt audio?
Yeah.
Adam texted it to you.
This morning. He was very excited about it. Pre-game yesterday, Mike Schilt was talking about his top 5 in the order, why he's kind of set it up that way, why he likes it. I thought it was relevant to the discussion that we were having right now, which is why I was asking Paulie to set it up and find it, which totally derailed the entire show.
Yeah, that's fine. It's all good. It's all good. It's fine.
Mike says, I'm on Team Woods.
I've liked a lot about Xander leading off.
There it is.
He looks comfortable there. Looks to be a good spot for him. I like the fact that
he likes a lot of things.
Takes good at bats. You know you're going to get a good bat to start the game off. He can work counts, but he can also be ready to hit early in the count. I like the fact that we've had some production at the bottom of the order, which allows him to have some opportunities to hit more like a traditional 3-hole as the lineup turns over. There's a lot to like about Bogey really anywhere, but I like him in the leadoff spot. He does a nice job, and he's a solid base runner.
Is it going to be your kind of like, you haven't changed the top 6 guys in the lineup yet, right? Is that just like who you are as a manager, or is that maybe a product of what the roster is?
It's not necessarily who I am as a manager. I mean, I like continuity. I think I can only speak for myself as a manager. I think anybody that manages anything likes consistency and appreciates it.
We have to.
But not blindly. But if you look up, and I didn't look at the offensive numbers today from a league standpoint, but, we're top 7 in a lot of the offensive categories. And, I'm no rocket scientist, but if it's working, I'm going to pretty much stay with it. And it feels good where people are slotted. Clearly we'll make adjustments if we need to, but I just like the way the lineup flows.
Well, we have an entire file right there. We're like 10% to a segment already on things Mike Schilt likes.
We have to. Now,
you don't have to. I have to.
Can we combine them, or shouldn't we combine them?
No.
Keep them separate?
They got to be separate.
I like continuity. I like what he's done. I like how he takes his ABs. It's fantastic.
Now, that was before the game yesterday. Does another 2-run output change anything?
What does it hurt, at this point?
Well, I mean, here's what it hurts. According to Mike Schilt.
Continuity that he likes.
He likes the continuity, but he essentially is telling us what I am doing is effective. We're top 7 in offense. Why would I change anything when we're doing so well? Except the win-loss record is not working.
Yeah.
You can blame the pitching and not the offense for that. But the games that they've lost, generally it's because they're not scoring enough runs in those games.
That's a good point.
Is it working or is it not working?
God, I would be the worst, man. Because after 2 games of 2 runs, my ass would be up all night configuring a different lineup. Wouldn't you guys? Like, we gotta try something. We gotta try to get. What do they always say? What's the manager speak? Yeah, he's trying to get a little spark, a little spark at the top or whatever. And, because the bottom has been doing a good job. So in that case, then get that spark plug maybe to the top. Maybe try to reinvigorate the top of the lineup. I will be very interested to see how it shapes up today. I didn't mean to snap at you.
No, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry.
I'm more sorry.
I'm way more sorry.
Thank you.
I love you.
I'm checking MLB.com because sometimes they get the lineup first, but have not seen it there yet.
Sammy,
either.
just text it to us, dude.
I mean, it's got to be. It's in the. It's probably posted in the clubhouse at this point. And if we don't get it, Annie and Elston will certainly have it for you coming up here at the top of the hour. Let me go. Last resort is the MLB app, and we got the game today. If we can get to game day, the problem is it's always a game. It's still a game behind. Probable pitchers: Thompson against Musgrove. And nope, I got no lineup here for the game yet.
All right.
Maybe it's a late morning for everybody. Stayed up after the game a little too late last night.
I'm one of them. Jacob says, take back what you said about bouncing the ball. Yeah, I was hurt. I was backed in a corner, and I fight like a cornered rat. Ask my wife. When I'm backed in a corner, of course I take it. I defended you all day.
And I appreciated that.
And I love you.
Really
I love
did.
you. I'll say it again. I love you.
I love you too.
Thank you. Okay, good job.
He's got a good, healthy marriage.
That's great.
I love that.
El Boogie says, I like a good on-air fight. I am distracted.
That was about as passionate I've seen Ben in a long time.
I need to respect the fact that you are distractible and try to minimize the distraction to you. But please know that my heart was in the best interest of the show. Trying to make it sound as good as possible.
Can I offer a suggestion?
Sure.
All right. So let's say we're talking about what we're talking about, the lineup construction, and you say, "Oh, quickly, Paulie, would you pull that audio of Mike Schilt?" You can do that on the air.
That's true.
You always
do that.
This show is what this show is for. When I'm talking, you lean over. I get easily distracted.
There's something about, maybe it's the fact that I've done TV for so long where everything has to be so precisely orchestrated that there's something in my mind that I like when things just flow perfectly.
Thank you.
Giving me a lot of work.
I want a Schilt v. Ben race at the end of the year. I'm so excited for I
like lineup continuity.
Out of that
rhubarb pie.
Out of that drama, just sparked perhaps what could be the greatest thing all year. So now we have to listen to every Schilt post game. We have
pre-game, post game. He talks so often.
We have to. I love it. It's just he said it the first one, and I was like, all right, that's normal. And then he said it again, and I went, now this feels familiar.
And then he did it a third time. Like, all right, well.
I'm so excited.
I love that.
He's going to kill us. Let's see how many we can get him to say on Friday.
By the way, Mike Schilt joining us, of course, on Friday. Is he on before or after Jay Moore, or shall we just have them all on the same time?
No, that'd be a S show.
Friday's loaded, actually, which is great. No game tomorrow. So Friday we will have Jay Moore in studio.
Yep.
7. He stayed like an hour last time, 7 to 7:30, I think.
Yeah.
And then we have the season debut of the Cespedes Barbecue guys.
Oh,
Jake
yes.
and Jordan at 8 o'clock every Friday.
Both of them.
On
this
time.
This time, yes.
Together. They'll alternate, I think, throughout the season. And then Mike Schilt at 9 o'clock on Friday.
And tomorrow is the first of our Thursday visits, right, with Eno Saris,
yes,
who was in town and laughing about us and doing the first pitch yesterday as well. So.
Did you hear his video?
I know he has a video.
So he posted a video of us, and as soon as we threw it, you hear him go. He goes,
no stuff plus numbers.
No. Just the. Yeah, it was
that.
It was great. It was great. A lot of fun.
No win shares plus or anything.
No stuff
from
plus.
Ben and Woods.
Chris B says the end of the show is Ben and Woods' greatest hit. Yeah, it's as close as we've come to do the show, bitch.
Have Annie and Elston had any on-air fights?
I don't
yet?
know.
They're still in the.
Everyone's due for one.
The very polite phase.
I love hard. I forgive even harder, Ben, and I apologize.
All right. Well, why don't we do this again tomorrow for 4 more hours?
Same time, same place.
See how it goes.
Just less bitchy.
We'll talk to you then. For executive producer, imaging director, and just everything guy, Paul Reindl. Stephen Woods, the guy I love more than anyone. I'm Ben Higgins. Annie and Elston coming up next here on 97.3 The Fan. Have a great rest of your way. So long.